Okay, we'll try that scene again. Hello, everyone. Hope we're all doing well. Today's stream will be slightly different because we're going to have something playing in the background because we're just doing ditto raids over and over again. So, like, I'm going to have Summoning Salt talk about speedruns. We can listen, we can also just chat over it, but let me see what the audio levels are like for it. That seems respectable. Maybe it could be tuned slightly higher. TOS, right? Anyway. Yes. Ditto raids because every ditto raid is guaranteed to be 5 IV. 5 IV meaning
Super
5
Mario
per...
Bros. 3
Oh, that is a bit
speedruns
louder
are
than
some of
expected.
the most competitive out there. It has a degree of random.
Yeah, so guaranteed to have 5 perfect IVs. We're aiming to get 6, but despite not being a competitive Pokemon battler, I want to have the dittos that let me breed competitive Pokemon. So you want a 5 IV ditto that has 0 IVs in attack and 0 IVs in speed. These are two different dittos. The reason you would want 0 IV for speed in a Pokemon is for Trick Room Pokemon. And the reason you would want 0 attack for certain Pokemon, or specifically special attackers, is confusion and foul play are determined by your attack stat. So the lower your attack stat, the less damage it will do. So, you know, not that, probably I'll never reach that point myself, but I thought, why not? I do have a perfect IV shiny Ditto that's definitely legit on Pokemon Home, but who knows when we're getting home support, and I thought, you know what, it gives me something to do today, you know? So, I might have to turn this down actually lower, but we shall see, so...
Randomness not found in most platforms.
Yeah, he is...
So much out of your control needs to line up. But it also requires
okay, let's see how that goes. It's still too loud, people can tell me if it's too overbearing. So, let's find some Dittos.
We've already been over warpless world records in this game, but there's another even tougher category.
If we find any shinies on the way to the raids, that could be fun. I also need to connect to the internet.
It's become one of the most coveted NES world records. This is the history of Mario 3.
I hate that everything in Pokemon is such a chore to... Nothing's easier fluid, you know? What are the chances this raid is underground? Probably pretty high. I also have some water. I have non-alcoholic beer, which, what's the point? But I couldn't find any alcoholic beer, so I was just like, I like Guinness, so I assume non-alcoholic Guinness is very similar.
What is a 100% speed run?
Like a glove.
Well, for a normal warpless speed run of Mario
Challenges
3,
grip. So the reason I've got Magikarp is these Dittos have Imposter as their ability, which means they immediately transform into the opponent. So if they transform into a level 1 Magikarp, they will have the HP of level 1 Magikarp, plus whatever modifiers for being a 5-star raid. So, yeah. You don't want to do this on your own because your NPCs will scale their levels to yours, so you actually want to do it with other people. And I didn't want to go searching on the network because it's always such a pain.
You can't skip over anything dangerous.
Hopefully that person there with their Ditto swaps it out. No shenanigans here.
Now, David Gibbons may not
there we
be
go.
a familiar name to most,
come on, Freddy up.
But back in the early 2000s, he was one of the most prolific speedrunners around.
Come on.
He held world records in Mario 64,
come on, I'm not stupid.
GoldenEye, Castlevania 64,
Ready up. Good in you. Happening. No Subway Surfers today, I'm sorry.
He added Mario 3
there we go. Let's go.
A 100% run clocking in at 1 hour, 24 minutes, and 10 seconds.
The journey for the perfect Ditto.
Gibbons played on the Super Mario All-Stars version of the game, but since all his other
me and my wife are going to go see the Mario movie tomorrow. Very exciting.
It's likely Gibbons played on this version since he didn't own an NES. He started in World 1 and began making his way through the
People on Twitter are already spoiling the movie, which fucking come on.
Gibbons' first goal was to build up
I just said no Subway Surfers today.
The P meter checks every 8 frames whether
I don't want the children. I want the 30-somethings that put on 6-hour videos on this history of speedruns to fall asleep.
Once the meter is full, you get P speed, allowing you to run.
Right, the chances of getting the perfect ditto is apparently 1%. Chances of getting the other ones that I mentioned, the Zero IV and Speed or Attack, is also 1% each. And then the remainder is 97% perfect, 5 perfect IVs and random stat and something else.
As a whole, Gibbons was going
Which I suppose technically means that
but some levels looked more like a
the perfect stat could be in that 97% as well.
In particular had a lot of falling in the water and riding on slow-moving platforms.
Also, the rewards are pretty good. Like, you actually get EV items and the EV berries, which reduce your EVs. It's actually worth doing. It's a money saver. Let me know if the YouTube audio is too loud.
And all the while, he was collecting items, which the game automatically gives you after completing worlds and fighting Hammer Brothers. He saved most of these until World 7.
Where's the next one?
Features many of the game's longest stages. So in 7-6, for instance, instead of entering the door to play the level, he used a P-wing to fly over the wall.
I've already caught about 10 ditto today.
In a matter of seconds. All in all, this was a pretty impressive speedrun for its time.
Samir Berov, thank you for the follow. How are you today?
But there were a lot of safe
580.
strategies used, and it was obvious the world record had potential to go lower. That being said, for the next 6 years,
keep my eyes out for
David Gibbons'
shinies.
run remained as the fastest recorded 100% time. During that period,
I wish I knew.
new Mario 3 runners joined Speed Demo's archive, but for the most part,
Rock and Stone, brother!
Other categories.
Zyle, thank you for the
However,
6 months.
for awesome
I need to change the audio for the subscribe.
A runner named TJP715
That's something I need to fix.
Mario 3 100%.
We are over the era of
It got accepted.
the ara.
Running it in front of thousands
Era.
of viewers that January. So, TJP had to practice. He began streaming 100% runs on his Twitch page.
Please, I just want to go to the tower raids.
2011,
The tower reads.
he beat David Gibbons.
No, not the evil Joel.
But this time, 100% looked a little different.
I'm so glad that I set it up in a. These don't look like shinies, so.
On November 6th, 2011, TJP beat the record
On to
by
the next
over
one.
2 minutes. A 121.
Challenges a grip.
And he was able to take full advantage of what had been discovered over the last 6 years.
Let's see. I'm now going to taste test the
He
non-alcoholic
was
Guinness.
far better at preserving P speed.
Are we ready for the review?
In 2-2, he turned back
Well, what
the
I've
start
sipped already tastes a bit like licorice, and I don't like licorice.
then precisely jumped to maintain it through the whole level. 4-3 was more of the same, maintaining peace by mapping out his jumps perfectly.
Yeah, it's mostly Guinness.
It was overall
Bit of
a
a-
higher level of gameplay.
Don't know why I'm getting licorice from it.
There were also smaller optimizations TJP made.
I couldn't find
It seems logical to jump
alcoholic beer in my fridge. There was only non-alcoholic or spirits, and I didn't really want. I wasn't in a spirit
but
mood.
Mario eventually has to slowly fall to the bottom of the screen after grabbing it.
Like,
So, if he grabs
I really don't have any issue with like having non-alcoholic beer, but the fact that there's a licorice aftertaste, I'm like, I don't know if I like this.
He used this throughout the run to see
Normal Guinness does not taste like that.
But here's the thing about TJP.
So we've got Nanami with their Koraidon.
Not trying to optimize a world record. He was also a showman, never afraid to go for the toughest tricks.
After nearly a year of learning Hiragana and Katakana, I think I know the kana when I see it. Mostly.
TJP also
Don't ask me about
dodged
kanji, though.
times and took damage on numerous occasions. It made for an entertaining run, despite some obvious places to improve. But the biggest addition to TJP's run,
I wonder what the.
every trick to his advantage.
I wonder if the. Right, so that's Yuki-tan. Yuki-tan.
Of Mario
With their flutter mane. Maybe we could probably just go in as a.
6-9.
Kanji? I don't know, Kanji. I like that one. That's a new one.
But instead, TJP
Okay, and a Meowscarada from
this.
Caleb.
It's called a wall jump. An incredibly difficult
You know what, I was looking at Walking Wake again recently, and I thought, you know what, Walking Wake is a great design.
pixels of a block,
I know
and then
some people
jump
really
again
dislike
to
it, but I think Walking Wake's great.
Although in rare cases you may get a second frame. That means you have 6 pixels of wiggle room, and then must time a jump down to the 60th of a second. That's not easy. But then there's stuff out of your control.
If anything, it just makes me want more Paradox Pokemon. But I imagine we're not going to get many more.
When running,
because what, they've already shown off
and 8 sub-pixels per frame.
for 5. They've already shown 5 new Pokemon. We're probably going to get a couple of regionals.
2.5 pixels per frame. Depending on how you're lined up,
This Ditto has a big idea.
Impossible. For instance,
no wait, it's an imposter. Haha, Among Us. Get it? No, I should be cheering them instead of splashing. Oh, guess they didn't need my help.
And won't have the chance to wall jump. If you instead had a high sub-pixel value, the 8 sub-pixels gained would cause Mario to move an extra pixel deep.
Also, I vow that if there is a shiny Ditto, I will catch it in a repeat ball. Because that's every Ditto I ever came across in Sword and Shield trades. We would put Dittos in repeat balls. I mean, that was when Max Raid Battles had a chance of failing capture. Can't be arsed going to the auction house to get all the other Pokeballs though. These are really good rewards.
This means you can skip straight through entering a door to play.
Like, I've been rationing my ability patches that I cloned to sell them.
Of course, in addition to needing a frame perfect jump to hit the corner of the block, you also need sub-pixel luck to clip in far enough. Even if you get a
I don't need to see the Pokédex entry every time.
Mario only zips less than half the time in practice. As difficult and random as these tricks are, TJP was committed to going for them. He went for the wall jump in 6-9 and got it 7th try.
If we come across a shiny,
and got it 17th try. He went for
I don't know.
flip in 7-5.
I was gonna do some sort of incentive, but like,
before giving up. Finally,
who's to say? I'm not gonna have the same luck that I did with that fungus.
Vindicating his efforts. Was this all actually worth it? Well, despite a lot of misses, TJP clearly showed that if performed fast enough, the wall jump and all the various clips could potentially save big
What's that?
time.
Oh, it's the Minecraft.
A few weeks later, just before his GDQ run, TJP set another 100% world record, 120.29. It was cleaner overall with fewer deaths, and took no more
I don't know what
than
shiny
6
Deerling
tries
looked
to get
like,
the
so
major clips in World 7. Despite a lead of over 3 minutes, TJP
ooh, a
couldn't help
ghost.
himself from going all out in the last
Spooky.
stage of the game. He started by going into the basement and failing a clip 31
Does anyone remember,
times.
I think her name is Nikumi Nakamura?
And attempted a different clip 4 times before giving up and
She was
taking
the
it.
spooky lady at like
He then
a
successfully
Game Awards or
hit a clip
E3.
at the top of the level, but it actually
So
lost
this
the light
is
because of how slowly you
Kentaro.
moved the wall.
Kentaro.
He may have lost
Even.
over a minute and a half in one stage, but his run looked cool and was still a world record. Now, TJP's run stood as the official record
I need to buy
for
the
about 8 months.
expansion pack
It
at some
was
point.
beaten in
On
August 2012.
Sale on
The
Shop
run
2,
to
by the
do
way.
it is
Don't pay full
pretty
price for it.
well known today. Mitch Flower Power. By 2012, Mitch had already been a top Mario 3 runner.
I'm
for
trying to,
years.
so that's
He
not
got the
Iron
world
Treads.
record in
That's
2010, and
Great
likely
Tusk?
had a
Is that their
100%
name?
Run faster than TJP's runs back in 2011, but he didn't record his time until 2012. By then, Mitch's skills had risen far beyond TJP's, and as a result, he was able to do this. to
take
the
your
world
time,
record.
game. Hope we're learning. I will be quizzing you on this video. Pay attention.
100% had just been taken to another level. And the way Mitch did it, P-speed, P-speed, P-speed. He had practiced runs of individual
P-speed.
levels for years, and was able to apply P-speed techniques there to full game.
Sile, what do you win
The only
if
problem with
your
this
prediction is
weapon,
true for the Mario
it
movie?
wasn't exactly 4K quality. A low-resolution camera.
There's
pointed at
I
the
would bet against it. There's no way they're going to be there.
gameplay on the screen was unbelievably high quality for the time. Take 1-3 for instance. Mitch did a tiny
Right,
jump
sod it,
over
let's just go.
Koopa to build P-Speed while jumping off the boomerang bro. Take the first fort in World 4. This is an incredibly tough stage, but Mitch kept P-Speed the entire way through. There are some really precise jumps in there, but he never slowed down.
I love speedruns. I would love to try them, but then I'm not.
Also smarter.
That would require learning,
In World 6's first
and I'm already putting off
Mitch powered up, then
TGM.
intentionally took damage so he could run on the spikes quickly instead of slowly riding on the platform. There were time saves like this all across the run, allowing Mitch to be multiple minutes ahead after 6 worlds. But instead of going for the wall jump in 6-9 and the clip in 7-6, Mitch used P-Wings in both stages
I
to
keep
fly
forgetting to
straight up top.
go all out,
Instead
team.
of using them for safer strategies
Never
in
mind.
stages like TJP did. He still managed to get 7-1 clip second try, and got a couple clips in 7-5. It was far from a perfect run.
You know what? I will catch it.
Mitch's 114 was the new gold standard for 100% runs. Now, when compared to Warpless,
Yeet.
Mario 3's other long category, 100%'s leaderboard was a little different. Mitch was way ahead.
If you haven't
of
already,
the pack
remember
with
to play Deep Rock Galactic, because there's an Easter event just now with new hats. It's like TF2, but they're still supporting it.
Throughout 2012, Mitch and Karua were locked.
That's how I should
in a
start
Warpless
advertising
record,
Deep Rock.
trading the record back and forth throughout the year. Mitch knew Karua would be an incredible 100%.
What if
runner
TF2 was good?
try, and he encouraged him to start running it. So, later that year, Karua did. And in December, he beat Mitch's world record.
Right, on to the next one.
113.52.
Oh, hell yeah.
Approaching
I'm in my home resonance
Mitch went
era.
all out,
My entire
executing
personality
as
is this
tough
song.
strategies as he could and being less concerned about
Got me through some rough times, I gotta say. Home by resonance or resonance by home, I forget which one's
He
which.
expected to get hit and make the occasional
Absolute
mistake,
banger.
but his initial goal was to avoid dying, something TJP and Mitch failed to do. He also wanted to have a cleaner run overall. Mitch had some.
Oh, wait, hold on, I've got a bad joke. Got a bad pun. Hold on.
Hold on to his fire flower.
That dog's back is full of knots.
Haha. While Mitch had to slowly jump his way through. Keeping with his conservative strategies,
Sorry, chicken.
Karua saved a lot of items for the later worlds, and
You shiny?
for 6-9 and 7-6.
Maybe?
He
I
also
legit don't know.
7-9,
No.
allowing him to go straight to the top.
Fun fact, Fletchinder is the first Pokemon to exceed the 10 character limit of the previous games.
And got it 5th try. So overall, his safe strategy worked.
Like, the likes of Victory Bell and for Alligator, you can see their spelling's a little off. Fletchinder was the first one with 11 characters, or 12.
The run certainly wasn't without its faults. Small time losses were scattered across the run, especially in World 6, and he took a lot of time trying to build P-Speed at the start of 7-2. But Karua
PP
said
speed.
that all he wanted with this run was a starting point. He wanted to achieve a clean world record, and then return to improve it in the future.
Fighting Ditto.
So, 5 months later, that's exactly what Karua tried to do. On May 19th, 2013,
And then once I
after a
put them in the
break
box,
from
I'll
doing
have a look if they're
100%
worth anything.
Karua got on a pace with a beautiful first half. He bled a little bit from
Also,
slowdown
good
in
on-
World 5.
I mean, the
World
praises
6
are
was
very
much
low,
closer
but
last
good on
year.
them for actually
Karua was over half
doing this
a
raid,
minute ahead,
acknowledging that
7.
Ditto's very
But he
important.
still had to get the 7-1 clip.
Right, I want to know the names of the treasures
He
of,
also
like,
gained time by building
whatever they're called.
P-Speed
So I think
at
that's
7-2.
Chi-Yu.
Suddenly, he was over
I'm fairly sure
40
Qian Pao is
seconds
the
ahead going into the final world.
leopard one.
World
I think
8 is
Ting Lu
very
is the...
world in Mario 3 speedruns.
Oh, is
On
the
its surface, it doesn't
moose
seem that
with the
difficult.
bowl on its head. I
Nearly
forget what the
half
name of
stages
the
are auto-scrollers, which are essentially cutscenes for
slug.
speedrunners, and the remaining stages don't have many super difficult tricks. You don't even have to worry about the hands like you do in Warpless. You're forced to play them all.
I think
in
that's Chi-Yu.
100%. So the only RNG is a 1.5 time loss from getting pulled in by a hand versus selecting it manually. So, World 8 shouldn't be that tough of a world. But the remaining levels, 8-1, 8-2,
Right, what if
or
Ditto had a
Bowser's
fist?
Castle, they may not be super difficult, but they're just hard enough that, when combined with the pressure of being on world record pace, it can
Yeah,
be
that's cheater.
very
Got it.
easy to make a mistake. With the pressure off, top runners rarely make mistakes in World 8. But everything changes when you're on world record pace. One slip of the button, one mistimed jump, and your world record chance can vanish.
Garp, garp, garp. Yeet.
3 consecutive levels with a mistake. The pressure may have gotten to Karua. But incredibly, since he led by so much going into World 8, he still pulled off a world record by 7 seconds. This may not have been the record he was
Yay.
going for, but Karua was in it for the long haul. 100% had turned into his new favorite category, and he was willing to devote most of his attention to it. And so, throughout 2013, this is what Karua did to the world record.
Ditto. Right, let's put these in the box. Right. Nope. Nope. Aha, that's one of them. I've got one. Right, so 5 IV and no good in attack. That we want that. I don't know if I'll ever use it, but that's something we want to keep. I've only got that. That'll be for like Masuda
4
method
months
Pokemon.
later, Karua had taken the world record all the way to 112.40. Despite
Double
lowering
check the
the
other
record
ones.
by over a minute, there weren't any big
Nope.
new strategies.
Nope.
The
Nope.
improvements came
Nope.
from making
Nope.
fewer mistakes
Nope.
and slowly
Nope.
adding in small
Nope.
time saves.
Nope.
An example
Nope.
of this is 4-1.
Nope. Nope.
Karua used to never build
Nope.
P-speed
Nope.
at this level, and just jumped his way through while slowing down as little as possible. But starting with his 112.40, he picked up a Koopa shell, then
And
used
remember,
to
it was a
run
fungus,
into
a shiny
Paracuda
fungus I found
so
around
he could
here, so
avoid
keep
taking
your eyes
damage
peeled.
and build P-speed. He could then preserve it across the remainder of the level and
Right.
save a few seconds. This was
I don't know what shiny
Karua's
Bombardier
category.
looks like.
Mitch was close to him at the start of the year, but as he chose to focus on other categories instead, Karua was able to pull away. And as a result, the gap between the two of them was nearly 2
Oh, it's cool.
full minutes.
Oh,
But
Zyle, if you're still here,
something interesting happened.
let me show you one of my
Mario
shinies.
100% was accepted into AGDQ 2014, just as it had been
We have a shiny
2 years
Toadskool.
prior with TJP.
And we have a shiny
Only
Toad's
this
Cruel
time,
called Initial D.
It would be a co-op run, with Mitch and Karua both playing. So,
That's it.
Mitch had to get ready. He'd spent the year playing the game's Warpless and Any percent categories, setting a total of 5 world records between the two. But he hadn't played 100% in over a year, and since then,
Next.
Karua had lowered the record 7 times. So, during preparations for that year's GDQ run, the question was, could Mitch keep up with Karua? And on November 13th, 2013, that question was
I'm
answered.
trying to think how I could. No. I'm gonna have to rely on Twitter or
This was a
Reddit
record
to get a
improvement of
foreign
7 seconds,
Ditto.
But there's one important caveat. Mitch played on an NES, while Karua played on Wii Virtual Console. These consoles have different frame rates, and essentially meant that Karua was playing in slightly slow motion compared to Mitch. Over the course of an hour-long speedrun, it worked out that Mitch gained 20 seconds over Karua from frame rate differences alone. So his improvement of 7 seconds was a slower played run overall. But it was still the world record. Mitch's strategies were quite different than
Okay,
Karua's.
we've got the
In
Great
World
Tusk.
2 Fort, for instance, Mitch intentionally lost fire to damage boost off the spikes. It's faster initially, but you lose time by not being able to fire the
Greninja.
boom and having to power back up later. Mitch also gained time back in a few of the stages where Karua lost big time, but he had his struggles too.
People,
His
right?
second
I do not
match
care for Annihilate.
was
I'm sorry.
Yet
I
when
don't get
factoring
the
in the time save from frame rate differences,
I don't get the hype.
it was still enough to beat the world record.
Did it. I did it.
After 15 months of dominance from Karua, Mitch was back on top. But in the lead up to their AGDQ run, Mitch wasn't the only one practicing. Karua
And like, I'm not being contrary, I just don't
as well.
get it.
And this time, there was no more Wii Virtual Console. Karua switched to playing on an NES. And so, just a few weeks after Mitch's record, Karua beat him back by 24 seconds. Keeping with the theme from these two runners, Karua's record was more consistent.
Oh, that's what a shiny Great Tusk
Mitch had
looks
lost
like.
5
That is
games
ugly.
in Worlds 4,
Well, it looks like mint chocolate ice
Karua
cream.
didn't get hit in either spot.
I don't want it.
And instead of a 12th try 7-1 clip, Karua got it first try. He did die in 6-3, but it wasn't a significant time loss since he was already Small Mario, and it was at the start of the level. It was a quintessential
I wasn't paying attention
Karua world
if it was
record.
shiny or not. Probably not.
He went for fewer extravagant tricks compared to Mitch.
I don't think the odds on them have been increased or anything.
And it paid off beautifully. Mitch and Karua continued practicing in the lead up to AGDQ 2014, but neither lowered their 100% time. But then, the day before the marathon was scheduled to start, Karua came through with one more world record. The
Kapow.
first 111 in the game's history. It was a bit more of an up and down run, with Karua losing fire in World 3 and missing a tail swipe in 7-5, causing him to lose time going for the backup. But this run is notable for one particular trick Karua went for. It's not a huge time save, but is extremely difficult and punishing if missed. The trick is
A lot of loading times, huh?
saves 3 seconds, and fittingly, is named Door 3. In World 3's first fort, there's a hallway of doors that lead to different areas. You're supposed to go into the 6th door, then jump up to a higher door and enter the boss corridor. However, if you instead enter the 3rd door and press up to re-enter the door as soon as Mario spawns on the next screen,
Nope.
you can enter it again and are sent straight to the boss corridor. This saves 3 seconds over going to door 6, but it's incredibly risky. You only have 1 frame to press up as you spawn on the screen, and if you miss, you fall into the water and lose 11 seconds. It's extremely high risk for not a huge reward. But Karua went for it since his run was off to a slow start, and it paid off. A few days later, Mitch and Karua
No, we wait.
and then both players took a break from 100%. The world record had entered the 111s, and although there's a limit to just how optimized an hour-long run can be, it was starting to get there. There weren't many huge time saves left.
Get
The
down.
smaller things were becoming more and more important. But when Karua came back to 100% runs in March, one element of the run in particular was gaining relevance. So far, we've talked about all the execution and tough tricks required in a 100%
Get
run.
down. Boom,
Key speed, getting clips, and all the rest. But we've been ignoring a big aspect of the speedrun. Mario 3 100% has one other major component, RNG. It's time to talk about the Hammer Brothers.
Now, I actually know something interesting about the Hammond brothers in speedrun lore. So, for the longest time, they couldn't determine which side the Hammer Bros were going to spawn from, or something.
After every level you complete, or every
But
time you
what it
die,
turned out
these
was,
Hammer
if you look in the
Brothers
overworld, depending which way they're looking, actually determines how they spawn in the map. But they didn't know that for a long, long
They
time.
can only stop on an unoccupied tile. So if they land on a level or another Hammer Brother, they have to move again. All the Hammer Brothers move at the same time, but you have to wait for whatever the longest movement is to stop before Mario can move. So if one Hammer Brother moves once while the other moves twice, you end up taking the time loss from a movement of 2. Now, you can get some pretty long movements from the Hammer Brothers. In World
Hello,
5,
Ditto.
this Hammer Brother can't stop on the fort, and then can't stop on level 8.
I think that's a shiny Garchomp.
So,
Yep.
he has to move 4 spaces.
It looks slightly worse than normal.
Stop. Each additional movement costs 32 frames, or roughly half a second. So a movement of 4 loses a second and a half over the optimal movement of 1. But under perfect conditions, you can get even worse movements. If the Hammer Brothers never land on an open tile, they have to keep moving. They can even get stuck on
I
top
will
of
catch
each other
it.
if they meet at a 3-way intersection. Speedrunner Stewie Cartman has one of the longest Hammer Brother movements on record. And
I wonder what
movements
Stewie
like
Cartman's
this
favorite TV shows are.
theoretically take place in any playthrough of Mario 3.
Ooh, bottle cap.
It probably goes without saying that if this happens in a run, it's an immediate reset. Even without a super long marathon movement, Hammer Brother movements can still cost the player big time over the course
Where
of
to
a 100%
next?
run.
Right, that's the
An extra movement is
Samurott.
only half a second, but there are dozens and
Probably
dozens of
this.
spots for movements during a run. In World 5 alone,
Yep.
getting the worst possible versus the best possible
Uh.
Hammer Brother luck is about 21 seconds of difference. Extrapolate that to the full game, and one speedrun to the next can have significant time variance from RNG alone. So, when Karua came back to attempts in March 2014, Hammer Brother
Goodness.
RNG mattered more than ever before. On March 27th, he got on a run that pulled ahead big time after World 3. This was partly thanks to quick Hammer Brother movements, but mostly
I am
because he
never
didn't
in
hit
this
any
zone.
support like his last record. World 4
I
featured
barely
great
spent any
movement
time
flow.
in
2 movements
my
of 2
playthrough.
and 5 movements of 1, and he didn't
Or
have
just
to
the tall
travel
grass.
far to fight them either. Unfortunately, World 5 wasn't as kind, as he got several movements of 3. Still, going into World 7,
Oops.
Karua had built up a substantial lead, and it just kept getting better. 7-1 clip was first try once again, and he got the tail swipe in 7-5 that he missed in the last record. Karua had a
Take your time, game.
17-second lead into World 8, but we already know how hard this world can be under pressure.
What are the chances?
These mistakes lost 12 seconds combined. Still a record
Anyway.
by 5 seconds, but World 8 was starting to become a problem spot for Karua. But just a week later, he had a chance for redemption. Karua carried an 8-second lead after World 6.
Let's go.
This run is notable for the new strategies Karua went for in World 7. In 7-9, he successfully hit a clip that saves 5 seconds. Instead of having to navigate the maze normally, you can go right through the wall to skip a
Annihilate
segment.
once again.
And in the second fort, Karua went for a beautiful strategy where you preserve P-speed throughout the 2 rooms. It's incredible to watch. You must throw fireballs and time your jumps perfectly in room 1, then do incredibly precise jumps while ducking in room 2 so that you never slow down. These 2 strategies combined meant Karua was 15 ahead into World 8. This was his chance. But once again, World 8 stood between him and the world record. He needed a good world. And that's exactly
Already,
what he
let's
got.
go.
It made for a remarkable 1:11.26, a world record cut of 27 seconds. The run was solid.
There's going to be
for World
so many
5,
Ditto
but
getting
a
Wonder
full
Traded.
World 6, combined with the new strategies in
Surely.
World 7 and a clean World 8, pushed it over the top. Simply put, this was an amazing world record. So amazing that for the next year, it would stand on top of the leaderboard unchallenged. But even with
Oh,
no
shiny
contenders in sight,
Armarouge.
Karua still wanted to push his time lower.
I'm sorry, the
Early
shiny
seasons,
Ceruledge and
he came
Armarouge
back to the
suck.
category.
They really
largely
do.
thanks to a few new strategies he could use to shave off some time. The biggest one was an overhaul of level 6-5.
Actually, I don't know. I'm not sorry. I think most people agree with me, actually.
Then fly up with a Koopa shell to clear out the plants and make it to the pipe. Building P-Speed is easy, but it took speedrunners time to pick up the Koopa shell. However, Kirua began using the 6-5 despawn strat. Mario 3 only has 5
Does
available
shiny
sprite slots at a
ditto
time.
transform into shiny
If a
Pokemon?
6th sprite appears on screen, it'll simply be despawned right away. So, by running and not slowing down, then tail swiping
I don't know if
above
that's
the
true,
beetle,
actually, because I watched the
you'll stay
video
on screen longer
where
and take up a sprite slot. The next beetle
the
is
shiny
in slot
Zorua
2,
was a regular looking
Koopa
Pokemon.
is in slot 3, and the last beetle is in slot 4. With one open slot remaining, only one of the 2 plants above can spawn in. So, you can just fly up there and break the blocks without needing to use the Koopa shell. Using this new strategy and other smaller ones, Kirua set 2 100% records in March 2015. A
Picks in the
111.24
box.
followed by a 111.02. The gap on the leaderboard was now enormous.
Okay,
54 seconds between him and second place.
that's the other no good
12 of the categories
ditto I
with
need.
13 world records.
So 0 IV in speed, 0 IV in attack. Okay, all we need now is the perfect one,
And now,
which this is not.
his lead over anybody else in the world was nearly
That's nice of the game.
a minute. And it was a good thing.
Watch the final one
Shortly
be
after his 111.02,
take absolutely ages.
Kirua obtained a working holiday visa, meaning he was going to be moving to Japan for the next year. And he wasn't going to be doing any speedrunning while gone. He had plans to come back to 100% runs upon his return, but for the next 12 months,
maybe I
defend
should
his title.
become a competitive Pokemon
But
player.
fortunately for Kirua, his world record seemed to be in no danger. He left for Japan, still with no threats to the record in sight. Just 3 months into his absence, Kirua's record was gone.
Oh
The
no.
guy who did it was named I Love Mario. When Kirua
Oh, if he clearly loves Mario more than he.
behind and didn't seem like a major threat. But a month later, the leaderboard looked a bit closer. And then it got a bit closer. And finally, on June 24th, 2015, he came through with this run. The first 110 in the game's history. I Love Mario would go on to set many records in Mario 2, Mario
I mean,
3,
it's in his
and
name.
Mario
Can't
Land
compete.
2 in the years to come. But this one was actually his very first Mario world record. While Kirua's run didn't have any huge mistakes, it still had flaws that I Love Mario was
That
able
player's
to
name is
take
Meow.
advantage of. His big time saves revolved around building P-Speed, namely in 4-1, World 4's second fort, and 5-5. In each of these stages, he managed to build P-Speed early through precise platforming to save a couple seconds. They added up to be a pretty nice time save. 7-1 clip was second try, and the world as a whole was quite clean. Credit to I Love Mario. He had swooped in and taken a world record that looked to be pretty safe. Kirua was shocked. He knew his record wasn't perfect, but to be beaten after just 3 months away was definitely a surprise. But he was set on not doing attempts until he came back. Over the next few months, the leaderboard would become a bit cluttered at the top, but I Love Mario's run remained the only 110. The new year arrived with no changes. And finally, in the spring of 2016, Kirua came back. His record had only lasted 3 months, but I Love Mario's world record lasted the remaining 9. It was still the time to beat. So, how would Kirua respond? Well, in the past, Kirua tended to mix in other games with his 100% attempts. But this time around, he decided he was going to do an all-out grind. His goal wasn't just to get the record back. His goal was to lower the time as much as he physically could. Because the time he was aiming for was a sub 110.30. This was Karua's ultimate grind. To get there, Karua was gonna have to squeeze all the time out of 100% that he could. He had a couple ways to help. Part 1, getting all the Koopa
Another
fire
ditto.
kills. At the end of each of the first 7 worlds, there's a Koopaling battle. The fastest way to defeat them is to use fireballs.
I'm starting to think those 1% odds aren't accurate.
Since the Koopalings have seemingly
But,
random patterns that can
well,
throw
I should say that
everything.
after getting the
However,
perfect one.
Their pattern can actually be determined ahead of time. It all depends on the time spent on the overworld map between the last level and the airship. Every few frames, the Koopaling's pattern changes.
Get his
If you
ass.
spend the same amount of time navigating to the airship, the pattern will be the same and you can plan your fire kill ahead. This can still be
The
problematic.
0 IV in attack
World 2,
ditto was new to me.
There are
I didn't realize that
multiple
mattered.
spots you can be before the airship. So, Karua had to plan this
I don't know how much of a
out
difference it
using
actually
several
makes,
goals.
but might as well have it than not have it, you know?
Patterns he could get, and how they match with his overworld movement. It was painstaking.
I kind of also
but it
want to make
allowed him to
a
be much more
0
consistent with the fire kills.
an imperfect
Part 2.
Magikarp with like 0
As
IVs and
always,
everything.
There were new strategies in this grind. Karua implemented 2 big ones. The first was in 6-10, a strategy that allowed you to maintain P-speed through the whole level and hang on to Fire Mario. It goes without saying that this requires brutally tough platforming, but the end result saves a few seconds throughout World 6. The other new strategy was in
And
7-7.
the other one's over here.
We've seen a lot of
Beside
tricks
not
in World 7,
France.
but this is easily the worst of them all. The most brutal, random, difficult, and all-around awful strategy in the game. This is the 7-7 clip. To get this to work, you need to land on the corner pixel of the pipe. That means there's both a vertical and horizontal component of getting the clip. You need the correct vertical pixel, plus
I'm still
the
getting
correct
new
horizontal
TMs because I've not gone around
and
the map.
correct subpixels
and
for both
collected
the
them all.
horizontal and vertical directions. If everything is done correctly, and you get lucky with the subpixels to get the clip first
So this is
try,
what, Dark type?
it saves 17 seconds over playing the stage normally. But getting it first try is both figuratively and literally
I get the
a victory.
logo
Past
for
runners have tried
Psychic
the
and Normal mixed up a
7-7
bunch.
flip before, but not to much success. Karua avoided the trick over the years, but for this grind, the 17-second time save was too good to pass up. But every miss shaves a few seconds off of the time save, and by the 6th try, it's impossible to gain time. Karua only got it about 25% of the time by the 6th try, meaning 75% of runs were
Do-do-do-do.
essentially killed by this
Do-do-do-do.
one trick, an hour into the run. It's absolutely brutal.
Come on,
World
Iron
7 as a
Hands.
whole had turned into a nightmare. You
Rugia.
got the 7-1 clip, the 7-7
No way,
clip,
Lugia.
the 7-9 clip, and several other difficult levels.
Oh, sorry.
If you wanted this grind to be a success,
I
it
forget.
all
I
had to come together
need to
for
unfuck my
Karua to pull
soundboard.
this off.
Sorry if that scared anybody.
8 weeks of practice. In the summer of 2016, Karua got to work. On July 6th, Karua was on a solid run through World 3. He got great Hammer Brother movements and even got Door 3. The next few worlds were up and down, but he was within striking distance going into World 7, a position he had been in several times over the past few weeks. But the world got off to a good start. Second try 7-1 clip. The
GG.
next few levels were clean as well, including
This is so much
Bell
easier
Tower
than
7-1.
joining a raid.
And
Just
then
hosting them.
he arrived at 7-7. This just got real. Although he lost some time later in the world, first try 7-7 was enough for a gold split. But there was still World 8. We've seen Karua struggle here before. And sure enough, in
I think somebody was
8-1,
hosting.
he lost P-speed to lose
Oh,
a
there
few
must have been.
seconds.
Somebody
But he
posted a
still
shiny
closed it
ditto
out
raid.
for a 110.52. For the first time in over a year, Kurua was the 100% record holder. He was officially back. That was the game plan to get his goal. Take a lottery ticket into World 7, pray the ticket hits to get all the clips required, then hold it together in World 8. Kurua had 23 seconds to go.
Alright,
This
let's
is
see what
what he
these
did
dittos are
throughout
like.
the following weeks.
Nope. Oops. What about you? Also no. Time for an ice one. Also, the previous ditto raids were 6 stars, so they were... I mean, they were still easy. But they're even harder to, like, get into. I suppose these ones don't have, HMs as a reward.
By the end of July 2016, Kurua had a remarkable improvement, just 5 seconds away from his goal. And finally, he had a run.
I suppose using a Sunkern would actually be more
he saved
effective.
6 seconds in that world alone, which took the run into the 110.30s. There was still room to shave a few seconds off. He had lost fire in 4-1 and took a few tries to do the clips in World 7. But overall, it was a really clean run. There just wasn't much time left to save. With 3 world records in July, Kurua was flying high.
Every time I hear Kurua, I just think, oh, this is just like knockoff Zorua, right?
In his entire speedrunning career. So, he decided to take a short but well-deserved break. He returned in August and started doing more runs, needing just 1 more record to achieve his goal. But all of a sudden, it's like Kurua ran into a wall. He wasn't seeing any more improvements. He was getting bad Hammer Brother movements, no clips in World 7.
I need the
All of a
other two
sudden,
to not
nothing was
be a
working.
Magikarp and Ditto, please.
And time started to pass. September came around, then October,
That's one.
and the record stayed at 110.34. Sometimes in speedrunning, we
Come on,
set
Caden.
goals that are too lofty. It's much easier to imagine a perfect run than
Ready
to
up.
actually
There we
play it.
go.
And it seems that's what Kurua had done. He had been a 100% record holder for 4 years, and knew what the culmination of all his skills could be. That would be a sub 110.30. But 3 months after his 110.34, despite a massive effort, Kurua hadn't made any progress. 5 seconds away had to be good enough. This was the end of the road for Kurua. And then came November 9th.
Almost done with this.
2016,
Not a
when
You
maybe
know what? Shiny
the
Cinderace doesn't look as
Kurua
bad as I
Mario
thought.
3 history
I still don't
started
think it's
to
great, but it's better than I...
do you remember anything about the attempt session leading up to it, or was it just like any normal
R.I.P.
day?
G-Max
I
and
honestly, I
Cinderace.
don't remember anything in particular about it. Yeah, the start was pretty standard, I would say. The RNG was actually bad, so I was slightly behind, but World 1 and World 2, as long as you're within 2 or 3 seconds, it's not really gonna make a huge difference. So in the end, getting out of World 3, the pace was acceptable. Nothing special, but nothing bad. The run really started picking up at World 4. Basically, I got B-speed in every spot where I wanted it, particularly in the first and the second fort, so everything went right.
4 worlds into the run, Kurua was 6 seconds ahead, putting him on pace for sub 110.30. But there was still a long way to go.
When I reached World 5, at that point I wasn't too excited about the run. In the entire run, World 5 is the one with the most RNG. The difference between good and bad RNG for the hammer bro movement is just insane.
Where
So
is the next
I
one?
got a really low number of movements.
Okay, so that's a
and I
6
just
star. These
nailed
are 5
every
star.
single stage. Like, the world was virtually perfect. World 6 is, in my opinion, the second hardest world after World 7. It's more about the execution for World 6, and it's really, really intense. So many stages are difficult, and again, like World 5, execution was on top in every single stage. I don't think I missed a single thing I went for in World 6. I think it was my best pace by 5 seconds entering World 7.
Let anyone join.
Yeah, I was definitely feeling the pressure.
This was the best chance Karua had ever had to get a sub 1:10:30. But he started off with a first try 7-1.
Getting 7-1 first try, you're always happy, but at the same time, I know
I was just looking at a meme of Iron Hands as well in the up here.
So I was happy, but I was just waiting for 7-7 really.
And finally, Karua arrived at 7-7. On the pace of his life, he just had to get this eventually, and he'd have a golden opportunity.
Was it driving and I'm speeding and I'm vigorously masturbating?
I think my heart rate rised quite a lot after getting 7-7 first try. Like, wow, this is actually happening.
Oh, for some reason I didn't see
Getting
the other Iron Hands wasn't ready.
Was a bonus, just the cherry on top.
We had been looking at the wrong line all along. We're not talking about a sub 1:10:30 anymore. Unbelievably, Karua was moments away from getting the world's first 1:09.
And it's weird because on one hand you're like, did I misjudge my goal? Or is it just that special? I think it was just that special.
Imposter.
That run was, it really was special.
But we had all
That's how you spell
seen Karua's
imposter, by the way.
start as
The one with two was... I hate how it
With
looks.
more on the line than ever before, he had to get a good World 8.
Interestingly, I wasn't feeling really pressured by World 8, even though I failed before. Despite that, I was very confident because I was playing well, so I wasn't really feeling much pressure in that regard.
And once we've done the ferry one, we'll check what deals we
Level
got.
by level, getting closer to the
Level
109.
by level.
And then, yeah, 8-1 happened. The truth is, I was actually not focused enough because I remember I was thinking ahead. I was thinking about a
Driving
strat
and I'm speeding
I was
and I'm
considering
vigorously
doing in the
masturbating.
fourth
Driving
stages
and I'm
later,
speeding and I violently
and I
come.
pressed
Like
jump too early and didn't jump. And yeah, we saw the results. I didn't know if I could even finish the run because I was so upset at myself. And I ended up getting a hit in 8-2 because of it. I just didn't care at that point. I actually knew I would probably get the record if I didn't do anything incredibly stupid afterwards. So I expected to maybe get a record by, I don't know, 5, 6.
No way, another ditto.
Instead, I'm absolutely crushing my goal despite what happened. So I had really conflicted emotions about it. At the time, I was really upset, but that run was so special that I still became quite happy about it quite quickly.
What a bizarre speedrun. Karua had accomplished his goal. In fact, he had crushed it. Yet it felt so unfulfilling. He was in a position to take the record years ahead of its time.
Let's go, team.
But fell short at the last minute. You know, after the kind of the dust had settled, did you have any thoughts about trying to lower the time further, or did you know that you were done?
I briefly considered continuing and getting another PB, but it would still be way worse, relatively speaking.
Nintendo moment.
To what that run could have been. So, yeah, I just need to stop there. I'm done.
That run was 6.5 years
There we go.
ago. Karua hasn't done a 100% run since, and he stopped speedrunning as a whole in 2017. But my goodness, did he go out on top.
Oh, remix of Home Resonance.
This was the leaderboard the day
Or
Karua
slow down
hit
reverb.
1:10:19. This was the leaderboard a year later. The gap had closed by just 2 seconds. There's Mega Man 2 record holder Elonisia in second place. Let's move another year forward. Runners were
I'll
starting
use
to get into
Splash.
110s now, but still, Karua's record was comfortably on top. At this point, we're in late 2018, and these runners with 110s, Louis, Elonisia, Horstad, they were all excellent Mario 3
Bonk.
players, but none of their runs had a world record potential. Even 2 full years later, none of these guys could catch up to Karua. It seemed like the 110-19 was destined to stay on top. There seemed to be no hope. Wait a minute. Mitch had been a 100% record holder before, back in 2014. Since then,
Getting the ball.
he had focused hard on Warpless, being ahead of Karua there for most of the last 4 years. If any runner in the top 10 had a shot of beating the 110-19,
Right, let's have a look at these titles
he
that
had
I got.
limited interest in 100% over the years. But in late 2018, he decided to give it another shot. His PB was a mid-111, and he very quickly rose up the leaderboard. By the end of November, he was in second place, 12 seconds behind Karua. He'd then achieve a 110.29.
That's just a regular Knackley, right?
110.26. These runs were notable because they
Probably.
both had a chance at the world record entering World 7.
Right, so what are the chances? One's
Couldn't get
perfect.
the first try clips
Nope.
that were in the 110.19.
Nope.
Even
No,
with the
but I can give
20
that to
seconds
somebody
loss
that
in
needs it.
World 8, Karua's world record was so tough to go against. There was just no margin for error in the first 7 worlds. 2019 came around, and Mitch was still 7 seconds behind Karua's world record.
So
On January 4th, Mitch got on a run.
I don't know if I want to
with
surprise shade
Karua's
these because so
record
far
in World 3.
I haven't on this
He
save,
then
and like the chances of getting like a
achieved
fucking,
time in each
you know,
of the
those
following
websites
5 worlds.
giving away free
He lost
shinies.
fire in 4-4,
Although they do
lost
give you
P speed in
Master Balls.
6-10. He missed 7-9 clip and took 2 tries to get 7-7. But entering World 8, Mitch was actually going to have a shot at this because he kept it close.
So I might have to
Losing
change the
against
time on
Karua's
my
was expected.
Switch.
Mitch was 16 seconds
So all that's left
behind,
is the
and he'd
two
make
6
that
stars.
time
Sorry,
up in
6 and
World 8.
7.
But of course,
Yep.
he had to avoid a critical mistake.
Nope.
We did it. Nice. Nice.
Right.
For the first time in
Let's
5 years,
go
the
counterclockwise.
100% record belonged to Mitch. He didn't use many new strategies either. He simply let his skills from the past few years take him past Karua. Overall, it was an extremely balanced run, with solid Hammer Brother RNG
Parkour.
and no bad worlds. And most importantly, after a 2-year reign at the top,
Now that I've gotten used to it, I do actually quite like
110-19
the
was no longer the time
the slight
to
size differences between.
Mitch and
Where am I
Karua
going?
were
I'm not even going
synonymous with Mario
where I'm
3's
supposed to
speed
be.
running. For years, when you looked at the Warpless or 100% leaderboards, their names were always in the top 2 spots, and now was no exception. But who's in 3rd place? That
Who's
would
on
be
first?
Louis, with a 110.35. He had been sneaking
This is
up
why
in the
I need the
background
minimap to
ever
be
since
locked
cutting the 111.
in a
While
direction.
Mitch was setting
I
the
hate
record
I hate
with
that it turns.
110.14, Louis remained only 20 seconds behind, easily the top active runner behind Mitch. And when Mitch stepped aside from 100%
Can I run away?
after setting the record, it was
Hmm.
Louis' time to shine.
Now, can I still fight with it? Probably.
In July 2019, after a steady series of
Seems
key
that way.
improvements, Louis broke through with a 110.08, taking the top spot by 6 full seconds. This was the first time in 4 years that neither Mitch nor Karua set the 100% record. And there's one key trick that Louis was able to use to his advantage. 7-1 subpixel manipulation. To get the 7-1 clip, your subpixel value needs to be correct. This value can range anywhere from 0 to 15, and normally it's impossible to pick your value. But there's a few rules you can use to help. Rule 1. Tapping left or right for one frame will usually decrease or increase it by one value, while tapping it for 2 frames will usually move it by 4 values. Rule 2. Having a subpixel value between 0 and 6 means the duck clip will work in 7-1. And rule 3. When wrapping around from subpixel
Okay, I would have to double check that was still online with it.
Mario visually moves forward. After the World 6 Koopa fight, you have a brief window where you can set up your subpixels for the next level, which is
Get that ditto
1.
off here.
So, by quickly tapping right and stopping when you see Mario visually move, you'll usually stop between a value of 0 and 6. This makes the 7-1 clip much easier to hit on the first try as long as you do the inputs correctly, which is exactly what Louis was able to do in his run. So, 110.08 was the record.
The ditto, there we go.
Since Karua's 110.19.
Come on, lock it in.
Despite the run advancing quite a bit
There we
since
go.
then, nobody could match that run's potential. The 109 sat just out of reach. Louis would hold on to the record for the next few months, but by late 2019, the desire to get under 110 picked up. Enough was enough, and the race for the first 109
Boom, boom,
was
boom,
officially
boom,
on.
boom, 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 boom.
Mitch was the favorite to get it, given his resume of past Mario 3 records. But runners like Louis and I Love Mario were close, and several other runners had times in the one.
Wasn't paying attention. Was that shiny? Probably
If
not.
any of these guys were actively running the game, they had a chance at this too. There was some clear time to save over Louis' record. There were a few stages where he missed P-Speed, he got some rough Hammer Brother luck in World 5, and missed the Koopa Fire kill in World 6. So the question was, who would clean
I'm just gonna
all that
assume it
up
was
first?
not shiny.
Well, in November 2019, Mitch got on a super fast run. The first 3 worlds were all beautiful, and he saved time in World 4 by not missing P-Speed in the second fort. He got better Hammer Brother luck in World 5 to save a few seconds, and got the World 6 Koopa Fire kill. The stars had aligned. Mitch was 13 seconds ahead going into World 7, but it was time for the clips.
Oh, I went back to my roots, man. Thank you.
That's never gonna not be in my head.
Okay.
He matched Louis' first try clips. Here we are again. 109 pace into World 8. Mitch needed one more clean world, and this would be it.
Beedoo beedoo.
What? Who does that? Get it together!
Booty booty booty.
No way.
Booty booty booty. Are you
What
shiny?
is that
No.
level? I think I've lost like too
Wait,
much time at
I
this
thought
point.
Magikarp died.
Well, it was still a world record,
Oh.
but once again, the 109 had been lost to World 8, 4 seconds away from the goal. Since he'd gotten the record back, Mitch stopped running 100% after this, leaving the door open to others to get the 109. But
I
6
cannot
months
tell.
later, barely
Shiny
anything had
Slowpokes
changed.
are
Mitch was on
indistinguishable.
top,
Hold on.
Louis was in second, and pretty much the entire top 10 was the same. One exception. New to the top 10 was Maiba, who is in 6th place with a 110.32. Half a minute from the record, not being in the top 5. Surely Maiba wasn't going to be the guy to get this,
Surely.
right?
Yeah.
On May 11th, Maiba got on a run that had a slight mishap with the Hammer Brother
Okay.
fight in World 3. He also got slow Hammer Brother movements in World 4 and missed P-Speed in the second fort. After a fantastic
Ah, you
World
gotta
5
have
and a
P-Speed.
solid World 6, he was just a few seconds behind the record, but he was well ahead of his personal best. And the clips in World 7
Nice.
Maiba was on the run of his life. Everything was working. Was he actually about to do this? Go straight from 6th to 1st place? Once again, just one world separated him from the first 109.
I'm starting to lose it.
It's over.
How did this keep happening? He lost 18 seconds in World 8. And again, the first 109 had slipped
Bucket
away.
gun.
It was enough for Maiba to move up to 3rd place, but knowing what this run could have been was pretty crushing. By late 2020, nearly 4 years had passed since Karua's run. Still no 109. There had certainly been enough chances, but nobody could quite convert. Well, in September 2020, another runner began climbing up the leaderboard. His name was Chikubi. He took his PB under 110.20 and then into 3rd place. Maybe he could be the one to do this. In the past, Chikubi was pretty much constantly in the top 10, but had never threatened the world record. Yet in late 2020,
Actually, kind of a shame that this raid has to go away because, like,
PB improvements,
what was it?
culminating with
A single,
this
like,
run on
EV
October 6th.
item is like 10,000 Poké
Chikubi
dollars.
got fantastic Hammer Brother luck in the middle worlds. Great patterns.
I
quick
think you can buy
hits.
bottle
It
caps.
was pretty much the best case scenario, and it all added up to an incredible 11-second lead over the world record after
Let's just
World
put these
5.
away.
The best pace anyone
Not the
had
one I
ever been on.
want. Also,
He
not the
started
one I
leading
want.
time in World 6 with a missed star grab, late P speed in 6-4, and a movement of 4. And 7-7 clip was 4th try, which is good, but not
I do like the
great.
community's idea for
But despite
Rusty
all
Bottle
that,
Cap to reduce
he
things to
was
0.
Still ahead of the record into World 8. Once again, with a really good world, he could get the 109. And guess
Like,
what?
I would use it now
He
for
played an excellent World
the
8.
Pokemon that I've put.
His
I just
only
use bottle
mistake
caps
was
for all
a
the
very
stats.
small one in Bowser's Castle.
Even again,
He didn't get the
even if I don't do
109
it competitively.
because he got pulled in by all 3 hands. Each hand has a 50-50 chance of pulling you in, which loses a second and a half over manually selecting the level.
Oh, hi.
The odds of being pulled in by all 3 hands is just 1 in 8. If he was pulled in by 1 hand or fewer, this would have been the 109. Instead, he had to settle for a 110.02.
The Tauros
A world
are
record,
just
But this was
such a
getting
pain.
ridiculous. The 109 still eluded everyone. Maybe they needed some more help. So many times they had been just a few seconds away. With a faster strategy,
So
or two,
annoying.
it could push them over the top. Well, in October 2020, Mitch came back to the 100%.
Nope.
And sure enough, he had a few new strategies to help.
God damn it.
And thankfully, they were all in World 7, the toughest world in the game. For 7-1, he had a new subpixel manipulation set up for a standing jump, which was just a little bit easier
Any use,
than a
Shiny?
jump jump.
Don't
In
think so.
7-2, he had a new strategy he had adopted from the TAS.
Anyway.
Instead of turning back at the start,
Oh,
you can just
I shouldn't have
jump
been doing that.
forward
It's
in
been
the
leveling up my
position
Magikarp.
to take damage, then just barely build
Oh,
PV
no.
before reaching the gap. It's quite difficult, but saves a little over 2 seconds.
Okay, I did
But the big
actually
thing
hatch the
with
second
7-1,
level 1 Magikarp we could use.
if you equip a P-Wing and a star, then do a frame-perfect jump into the corner of the pipe, you're practically guaranteed to have the correct subpixels to clip through the wall. Now, a frame-perfect jump isn't easy, but this saves more than 6 seconds if done correctly, which is huge. Add that to Fast 7-2's time save, and suddenly Mitch had a lot more wiggle room to get the 109. So, he got
think-
back to attempts. And on
I think we might be able to
October
beat this
20th, he had
raid.
a great run going. 2 seconds behind the record after World 6, Mitch knew he had time to save coming up with the new strategies. And he did. First try 7-1, fast 7-2, the clip in 7-5, and second try 7-7. Just like that, Mitch was 5 seconds ahead,
Oops.
putting him on
I was the
pace
problem
for
there.
109.57. Here we go again.
Here we go!
World 8 stood between Mitch and the world's first 109.
That's it. That probably cost me the sub 110.
Bug.
That's it. It didn't give it to me. Unbelievable. It's over. Ah, come on, man! Ah, come on, dude.
How did this keep happening? It was another record, but yet another failed 109. Karua's run 4 years ago set the trend, and ever since then, World 8 was like a shield to the 109. Mitch took damage, he missed P-speed, he failed a clip. It just seemed impossible.
You know what?
to
I will
run
catch
World
this
8
one.
on a good pace.
You're right, Pokemon.
Mitch, Jacoby, Maiba, Karua, some of the best players in the world had tried and failed. The 109 just wasn't happening. Did somebody else need to step up to get it done? Well, a few more months passed and 2021 came around. Early that year, Mitch decided to give the 100% grind one more try. He was 2 seconds away and had far more time than that to save in World 8 alone. He could do this. And on February 7th, 2021, Mitch had this run. It bled time early. He got worse luck in World 2 and made a mistake in World 4's first fort. He also had a time loss in 5-2.
Alright,
and had
so
to
the
travel
next...
far to fight the Hammer Brothers. As such,
Oh, I've already got
he
it.
was far behind entering World 6, but he cleaned up some small mistakes there and had an excellent World 7. This looks familiar.
Hi, Ergo. How are we?
Mitch was a bit behind, but had several
Yeah,
signs of
so...
coming up.
Oh, let me go to the
Just
Pokeportal and show.
once, World 8 had to be clean. This had to be the time to do it.
Okay, can I just go here? Yeah, we have Ditto raids. 5-star raids, guaranteed to have 5 perfect IVs. 1% chance that it's 6 IV. 1% chance it's 5 IV with 0 in speed, and 1% chance of having 5 IVs with 0 in attack. So all the competitive Dittos you would want.
Another time loss in World 8.
So yeah, I've already managed to get the 0 attack and 0 speed ones, so I'm quite chuffed already. So just working on
And see what time he got.
trying to get a 6 IV one. I do have one in my home, but who knows when we're getting home support, you know? And we're also watching Summoning Salt videos on this history of speedruns because it is more entertaining than what I'm doing on the screen.
We did it! The minute barrier! We did it!
We did it! We did it! We did it! Hey!
Karua paved the path. In 2020, Maiba and Jacoby provided hope. And in 2021, Mitch made it a reality. It wasn't a perfect run, but aside from taking damage, which cost a couple seconds, Mitch finally
Also,
had a great
still annoyed that there's not a
The
shiny
whole
sound
community could take a
like in
breather.
Legends of Arceus.
The 109 was real. But the breather didn't last very long.
I also drank some non-alcoholic Guinness, and I didn't like it because it tasted like licorice. That, or I was looking for reasons to not like it.
The same guy
Probably
who
both.
missed the first 109 months earlier thanks to a bit of a meltdown in World 8. But this
It's the
time,
weekend, y'all.
there was no meltdown. He got a 109.58, beating Mitch
They missed the
by
trick with Shiny
4
Miraidon. It should be red to properly
Maiba
match
ended
Kaneda's
up
eye.
missing
You know what?
some
They could
of
have
the P-speed
just swapped the
strategies
colours,
he
that
got.
Koraidon be the colour of Miraidon and vice versa. That would have been neat. but they're really into their like we want them all to look the same. So like Xerneas, Yveltal, and Zygarde turning into having white instead of black, or Lunala and Solgaleo turning red, which I actually quite liked. I actually quite liked the red that they gave them.
Nearly mistake-free World 6, despite not getting early P-Speed in 6-4.
I liked Zacian and Zamazenta turned more into the colour that they're actually meant to be, so cyan, magenta. Paul from S Club 7 died. Yeah, I heard about that. Like, I think they had just announced a comeback tour as well.
So, here we are. It's mid-2020.
I hate the streaky bacon Yveltal more than the toothpaste Zygarde.
The first to get it, but Maiba had finally gotten the record he'd been looking for so long. Everyone was happy. What more was there to do?
Oh no, it's Kyle, and then there's Kyler.
Natural tendency to
Is Kyler more Kyle than Kyle?
their goals have been accomplished, they set new ones. Maybe just to add one more chapter to a storied history.
I'm not locking in until they
Maybe to
lock
see
in.
what the human limits are. It was for all these
I know they're afraid that I'm gonna meme them, but I don't want them to meme me.
Mitch returned to do one final grind of
There we
Mario
go.
300%.
They've even got the shiny scissor, which I have.
Maiba beat my run was just to get it back. In Mario 3, every time you break a boundary, massive amounts of pressure is lifted off of your chest.
Ditto! But yeah, just vibing, just chilling.
I got off-screen one grab, and
I'm surprised I already got 2 of the 3 Ditto that I was looking for.
at the top of the screen, and once you do that, you don't have to
Yes.
screen wrap down.
I don't know if the odds have been increased, but I have seen people today on Twitter and Reddit talk about hosting shiny Dittos.
World 3, one of the
As far as I know, the shiny charm does not increase your odds. It actually has different odds from typical encounters. I don't know if they've increased the odds, is what I should just say.
And if he does that,
But yes, it's
every level
possible.
you beat until you get to level 6 or past level 6, he's gonna keep
I have a definitely, well, technically it's legit. From Sword and Shield, I have a 6 IV shiny Ditto from a raid,
even 9 seconds, depending on how far he goes.
which
World 4
is very sus, but it did let me catch it, and it went into home with no problems, so...
And then I got another off-screen wand grab, so that
I don't know whether shiny Ditto transforms into shiny equivalent, though that's something I don't know.
I'm playing great, but then I'm just not keeping the tight P-speed strategies that I should be. 6-3 didn't work, 6-4 also didn't work, and
It doesn't,
there's some
okay.
pretty big, Hammer Brothers
So I do have to pay attention at the start of a raid to determine whether it's shiny or not.
installments of strategies in 7.5 by using a P with a star.
I already said if I do see a shiny Ditto, I will catch it in a repeat ball, because that's all the... I associate repeat balls with Dittos now with all the trading I did in Sword and Shield. These are all my rejects. Nope, that's another reject. And this is also a reject.
But they just save enough time that if you go for them and get them all, you might be able to save the run. Now the issue with that is that if you get
Okay.
all 4 of them, there's nowhere to get
Normal.
your fire flowers.
Oh, there's
So I had
a
to
few
change up
here.
my routing
Any up
on
here?
the fly and go
Let's
for
go
the
get this one
hammer suit,
first.
strategy, which is pretty close to the same for the end part of World 7. So in 7-9, going for the clips, I got 2-1.
That's good to know. Thanks, Argo.
What that means is that with the 4 clips, 2 for the first one, took me 2 tries, 1 was first try, the third clip was...
And I'm just hosting them because it's so much easier to get into a raid when you host it instead of...
Yeah, so we're approaching
fighting
World
with
8,
everybody
and
else.
We just had to do this on the fly, hammer suit. You know, don't overextend it, just try and get the strats that you know. And so 8-1 and 8-2 and 8-4 went pretty smooth.
The first thing I battle with my shiny Lugia was a Ditto, so it turned into my new shiny
And
Lugia.
then
It was
we
neat.
just clutched out Bowser's Castle.
You get to see the front and back of it.
What? No way! No way!
It felt great to get the world record back from Maiba, and to know that I was able to come and bring it back and get a time that you
Yeah.
know. Better
I also
represents
did watch a
Maiba.
video
It felt really
that
good.
when I was copying that idea for get a shiny before every badge, they made it hard on themselves to find a shiny Zorua in the wild.
was feeling
And
very
shiny Zorua
nervous,
doesn't
so
look
I just
shiny
didn't
when
wanna
it's
stop
pretending
there.
to be
I
something
wanted to keep
else.
going and see if
So
I can, get that free World 3 time save and maybe a couple more off-screen wall grabs, see what happens.
but yeah, they managed to get a shiny
Get the off-screen wall
Zorua
grab, so I
just by putting
automatically
things in a
lose
let's go
4
mode.
seconds. We all know that I got the runaway bro, and that is a big
Oh
time
yeah,
save.
I see it.
Get it. And luckily enough, I didn't get that. We came and clutched out a World 1, 2, and 3 at pretty much being on pace with the world record. Nothing crazy. World 4 is a great example of soul crushing.
Like, despite having a
Nice
shiny
move on forward
Fluttermane,
move
I
on
wish
stage,
shiny
but it
Fluttermane
really pushes you down because
was a
World 4
nicer
got
color. I
right
hate
strategy.
shiny
Keep the run going.
Mischievous as well. I
I'm
think it's
just
an.
in World 6,
I don't like the color.
just keep going. So World 6,
I was talking about
World
Walking
6
Wake earlier,
got
actually.
pretty smooth. I didn't have any big mistakes.
I mean, the reason I have a shiny Fluttermane was because I was told about the glitch for Scarlet players that they could basically guarantee one. So I was like, well, I'm going to get myself a shiny Fluttermane.
Really good. 7-2,
Gabo!
12.
Gabo! Gabo!
7-5 though is another level with big time save. I didn't get the clip in the previous world record, and I do nail it, which is really good. So at that moment right there, I know this run is real now.
Yes, but if you go in with a ditto, they'll then copy the next person.
So we didn't lose any time. And
So
then
far,
we just
every
finished off World
ditto
7
has had the
North with
imposter
Flower,
ability.
which brought me in somewhere around -7 seconds compared to the world record. So it was serious.
Do note that if you do it with NPCs, your NPCs, their level scales with you. So it's kind of like you have to do this with other people for it to actually reap the benefit. Yes, yes. It's just like Among Us, Zyle.
Which is another about a second time save.
Yeah, normal Fluttermane looks a lot nicer than shiny.
What?
Get in the ball.
A semi-decent World 7. Clips worked. 7-7 third try. That's everything you would ask for in a World 7. So I felt really good about this run. So I was really happy with it.
Anything else to add, Zyle, or will you just disappear into the shadows until I say something else, Mimi?
After getting the 52, or were you like, let me just keep going and see what time I can get?
So my answer is I have no idea why I kept going.
Also, the rewards from the raids, ergo, are worth it. You get the EV boosting items, you get the EV unboosting berries, you get the... You can get bottle caps, you can get Destiny Knots, Everstones.
World 2, I got some pretty decent RNG, and the run was looking
You cook
good,
the
and then all of a
pasta.
sudden I got an off-screen one grab, and that is the best way to start your 100% runs off-screen one grab.
Right, that's the
And I started to
Samurott.
get all movements of one in
Let's go
World
after
3,
these
and I was
ones.
like, is this actually going to be like the God World 3 run? Did the normal strats, banked on some Hammer Brother RNG, and
No Herba Mystica.
World 4 normally ends
As far as I've seen.
runs, a lot of weird movements, but luckily for me,
You know what? I could actually just check the.
off my gold, so absolutely
I could check the table on Cerebi to let you know what if it does drop.
Amazing World 1, 2, 3, and 4.
The thing that everybody wants.
Incredibly rare in 100%.
It does not drop Herba Mystica.
Right away, first movement.
Only a few 5-star raids, I believe, do.
2 movements of 4 in a row. Let's go, baby.
And then another movement of
Oh,
4.
I've just learned something about the Dunsparce. So I already knew that each segment is number coded. So one segment of the Dunsparce has 1 blue stripe, the second segment has 2 stripes, and then if you have a 3-segment one, it has 3 stripes. I already knew that. What I didn't know is the number of wings on the Dunsparce segments also is represented. So the one segment has a wing on each side, and then the next one has 2 wings. Is that just a void? Hold on.
Standard nervous, but this wasn't anything.
Okay, that's not a void. That is a sheer drop. Thanks,
So
game.
the first half of World 7 went really, really well. 7-1 first try, and I got
Yeah, it was a shame. I was hoping the Herba Mysticas would not be. Well, I know there were sandwich ingredients, but you couldn't duplicate them when that glitch was still going.
Keep all my speed. Because at first I was saying, when I enter World 7, it's not like anything special, but World 7 is starting to make everything that
I'm nowhere
happened
near
before
where
that
I was supposed to be
amazing.
going. But
So, I'm very nervous at this point. After getting 7-1 and 7-5, I am really, really nervous.
oh no, that's not what I want to do at all. Can I run away? No. Okay.
I was so like blown away that I actually nailed it first try on a run like that. I just did.
I
not
survived.
I couldn't believe it. You
What was I gonna say?
rarely ever maximize your gameplay.
There's a
7-7
some drama. Well, I don't know if drama is the right word. Business drama in the Pokemon Go Niantic corner where.
An actual time save.
Oh,
We were able
oh
to
no!
clutch out the fortress and clutch out the Piranha Plant stage.
I should leave.
By far the best World 7 I've ever had, alongside the best run I've ever had, as you can tell. But it was
They've just like removed or they've increased the price on remote raid passes,
so after
and
World
people
7,
are very
going
upset
into World
because
8, I
the
was
remote raid pass was
extremely
probably the best thing to come out of
so many
the
little things that can screw you up.
out of
I'm on
COVID,
this run
because
that
it
is
meant
just
people who live in suburban areas or
insane.
are
After all
safe,
those thoughts running through my
disabled,
head, we approached hand stage
were able
one,
to
and
do
I actually
raids,
nailed it with the start.
and apparently they've been
One
trying to
worked
get
out
the
okay.
the head of
Two,
Niantic has been trying to get rid of remote raids for ages.
I was surprised it worked out okay. One of the things
But
to
yeah,
note
like
about
a bunch of
Castle is that
Pogo players just now are just like
things I was saying the level is
not playing the
snatch
game.
your room at the end, getting piece
Prove a
there,
point.
the one-up clip, and then the last one is the duck jump at the very end on the donuts. Once you get past the donut spot, you can say to yourself, "Oh my god, I actually did it." However, Bowser
It all
does
comes
have
back to
one
money.
pattern where he can jump and shoot the fireball at the same time, and when he does that, the fireball will be shot where you're standing. You can't avoid it. There's nothing you can do.
Normal. At some point, I need to jump into somebody's Violet world to catch my own Paradox Future Pokemon.
I'm so.
'Cause I'm fed up of looking at Mecha Santa. And saying that, I only put this game up when there's new raids.
No way! Oh my god, I can't even.
It ended up being my most impressive run that perfectly represented my
Chidori.
abilities as a gamer, which never happens in speedrunning. Everyone in speedrunning is always trying to chase their potential, and you never hit it. It is a run where I don't ever have to go back for it again, but I'm going to.
I didn't actually notice this until it was pointed out to me. Like, I knew Roaring Moon looks a lot like Mega Salamence. I didn't realize that Iron Valiant looks like the Mega Gardevoir / Glade.
Including Mitch himself.
And I thought that was neat
Incredible as it is,
when it was
one
pointed
day
out.
This record too will fall, just like all the ones that came before it. This has been the history of Mario 300% world records. Thanks for watching.
We watched it.
If you'd like to be notified when I upload a new video, please hit.
How about the entire history of the LEGO Star Wars world records? There we go. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. Was that shiny? Probably not. I'm just going to assume they're not. The chances of it being shiny are... I think it is full odds. Or slightly above full odds.
LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga. It's a game that millions played upon original release, and 15 years later, nostalgia is driving another wave of popularity. As more people play LEGO Star Wars, a question emerges. How quickly can the game be beaten? The
I'm gonna
LEGO
assume
Star
very
Wars
fast.
speedrun has the precision of a 3D platformer combined with the glitches and tricks of a broken NES game. And for the past few years, a dedicated community of runners have been battling each other to take the world record lower. This is the history of LEGO Star Wars world records.
Let's go! I should find out if I can hide stream elements from that chat thing.
And now, a word from this video's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends.
No.
For years, a player
I've-
named Cabbage Shirt
No, we're not doing free ads for Raid Shadow Legends. Fuck off.
Released in 2005, where you could play episodes 1 through 3. This was followed up by the original trilogy in 2006, with episodes 4 through 6 being playable.
Okay, that's not
Finally,
perfect.
in 2007,
You're not
these
perfect
games were
either.
combined into Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga, allowing you to play through all 6 episodes.
So I think
While the 3 versions are all speedran today, the most
It's a complete
popular one
turnaround.
by far is the Complete Saga, the topic of this video. Now, the earliest full game speedruns of the Complete Saga date back to 2013.
how dare they
but it's a bit of a
advertise
hasty
raids
one.
when I'm trying to do raids? You know, I'm
See,
just gonna
back then,
set as a
there was
destination.
no
Fuck it.
concrete rule set. The initial method was to play through episodes 1 through 6 in order on the game's Super Story mode, which adds a timer to the bottom of the screen and doesn't have status screens between levels. Later, runners switched to playing the episodes on replay, meaning you can use
If I go into
any
Stream
red
Elements,
brick
I can
on
like
any
choose the option to do a
Since these records didn't have
sponsored
standard
stream for
rule
Raid
set,
Shadow
and
Legends, but
also
like to
some were
actually
filled with a potato,
get paid
we'll
for it,
skip
like the
going over
parameters
these.
are pretty wild, so I ain't doing
However,
it.
serious props should be given to the record holders, Poshakt and Lexos, the champions of the Complete Saga's early era. For the next
Okay, this
2
is
years,
ground type.
no records would be set.
Still
But in
don't know
2015,
the icons
the community
perfectly.
began to
I think that's
form
ground.
once again. And for the first
And Poison
time,
has like bubbles instead of
standardized
squares.
rules were created.
Raid Ditto
All runs would be
Legends.
played on new game instead of replay story. All red bricks,
Their name
which are
is
unlockables that give you a special ability,
Kenichi?
were banned,
Kenichi?
and you could only play
Think so.
with one player. Calling in player 2 at any point was disallowed. These rules formed the backbone of runs starting in 2015, and the first record to abide by them was played by SM Kirky.
Did you get my message about Heaven's Door?
44 minutes and 46
I've been-
seconds.
I've been watching part
Now,
4,
this might seem
and for
long,
some reason I've missed like a bunch of
but
episodes
Lego Star Wars
like
is a
randomly.
long game.
Like I
It has
started the
36
episode
levels,
where the episode
most
with
of which take
Rohan,
several minutes to
and I was
get.
like, who the fuck is
On
Hazamada?
top of that,
I was like,
there are
oh, he's from
also
episode
nearly
6.
an
I'm like, I've not seen
hour
episode 6 for some
unskippable
reason, so I had to go back and watch episode
between the
6.
levels. So, how did SM Kirky speed the game up? Well, his general strategy can be seen in Negotiations, the first level in episode 1. He killed enemies and built objects needed to progress, but beyond that,
Heaven's Door is
he
Rohan
grew
Kishibe's
as fast as he
stand,
could.
and I sent a message in Discord saying just the absolute body horror of his ability just creeped me the fuck out. Was not in having a good time
In level 2 of
seeing people's
episode
skin
1,
get peeled off.
SM Kirky showed off quick platforming, jumping through the stage while avoiding slowdowns. Another
And then I
simple
asked
strategy
Zion, and he just sent me a meme,
was
Heaven's Door, remove this
on
man's
fights
ability
like
to
Darth
come.
Maul and Jango Fett, SM Kirky used the Jedi Slash over and over, the most effective way
Yeah,
to
the
break
page,
multiple
yeah.
bosses. So thus
It was already
far,
bad when like the
it's
fingers were
success
like getting unraveled, but when the whole
following all the
face, I was like,
rules of the
ugh.
game. He was just
Right, I've got a
using
feeling this
the
Laura
rules
has a
to
shiny
optimize
Lycan
everything
rock,
for speed.
because her profile picture
But
is a shiny
there's
rock ruff.
more SM Kirky did we've yet to discuss. Because like I said earlier, Lego Star Wars is a broken video game.
You know what, we can probably just go as is.
In level 5 of episode 2, you normally have to use one bomb to take out
And
one
for some reason,
monster,
it's been that long since I've
then
watched
go back
JoJo,
and
for
get
some
a
reason
second bomb to
Koichi
take out the
has
other
the
side.
Polnareff haircut, and it's
However,
annoying me.
The collision of the barrier stops extending out to the right once the right
Koichi,
side is
Koichi.
destroyed. So, by doing a precise spin move, you can make it around the barrier without having to backtrack for the second bomb.
And the thing is, I've watched a few
Known as
episodes of the
25
Rohan
and
spin-off,
takes roughly 14 seconds.
and I don't remember the page
In
thing
level
creeping
2
me
of
out.
Episode 4, you normally have to build and push a block to progress through the stage. But if you instead veer off to the left and double jump off of a slope in the wall, you can make it to a platform and skip right through it. Once again, this saves roughly 14 seconds. And in episode 5, one of the biggest skips in SM
Yeah,
Kirky's
she's got
run
some
takes place.
she's got some
At
stuff
end
going
level
on.
2, you have to get on top of the Millennium Falcon, And the intended method to do this involves unlocking a door to release animals and
I'm also learning today. Apparently, season 2 of Birdie Wing started, so I'm watching that later.
Perky precisely spaced a double jump to barely reach the top early, saving 40 seconds. In all, there were more than a dozen tricks like this across
Ooh, ability
the run,
capsule.
adding up to minutes of time save. There's honestly too many of them to go over in depth here, but many of them followed the same pattern. Doing a precise jump somewhere you're not supposed to.
I know it's not very often we praise the devs, but thank you, devs, for letting the ability patch let you go from hidden ability back to regular ability now. That was needed.
SMP's run was on another level compared to the runs from 2013. Fewer mistakes,
Where
more
are we going?
tricks, and a cleaner speedrun overall. It was a great starting point, and it stood as the record for almost a year. But in mid-2016, along came a player known as TSG. And what TSG did to the world record was this.
It's wild to think there was a time where certain berries were given away as like prizes or mystery gifts.
In 2016, a runner named TSG came onto the scene. By June, he'd have the world record. And over the next year, he'd do that 9 more times. His dominance can be attributed to a few things. First, his skill level was well beyond that of any other runner. The only one who was close was
Let's
SMP,
fight another
who
ditto!
couldn't catch up. Second, this was an incredibly active period of discovery for the game. You'll see soon how many new tricks TSG was able to use. And third, TSG played the game on PC. This wasn't fully known at the time, but running the game on PC is much faster than any other version.
I was saying earlier as well, I do not get the Annihilate hype. People seem to really like Annihilate. I'm not fussed.
341.17. And after the first level,
I get the whole he's so angry he died, sure, but eh.
After you save for the first time, you lose a couple seconds from auto-saving after every level. However, it does allow you to reset the game before a cutscene plays at the end of each episode, since your progress is saved before then. This allows you to more quickly start
Got
the
the
next
water
episode instead of
Tauros.
watching a long cutscene, especially after episodes 3 and 5. And the time save is further compounded
Want
with
lock-in?
the fast reset you can do on PC.
Tammy?
And of course,
Tammy?
he had a plethora of new strategies to use,
Okay.
particularly in episode 5.
Yeah, I think it's a good.
One was in stage 5-2.
I mean,
C-3PO can't
my
jump,
brain's like, why is it not like the
only
same
has to
colors
jump
as its previous
to jump
forms?
this
But
ledge.
I mean, it is dead.
But instead, TSG just punched
Out of all the
it
Pokemon to get an
saving
evolution, I didn't. I
22
never thought it was going to be
seconds from not
Primate.
having to use the cart. And in 5-4,
Just make a
you
puffier.
normally have to have Yoda teach Luke the Force and build bridges for R2 to use. But why do that when you can
Now,
just
Clodsire.
use
Now,
the
that's a
function
fucking
of the
great
wall and get it
evolution.
anyway? This was discovered by Grubo and saves a solid 30 seconds. But the most notable
Oh, it's the shiny
trick
Annihilate
done
as well.
was one known as DV3, short for Darth Vader 3. In this form of the fight, you're supposed to deflect objects into Darth Vader, then eventually glass comes down and you can jump across.
Yeah, use Splash.
However, it's just barely possible to jump across without the glass, meaning you can skip the entire fight. You have 3 frames of leeway between the 2 jumps and the double jump, and it was easily the most difficult.
Yeah,
fight
I
to
think I'll
run.
catch it.
But if done properly, you would save over 70 seconds from not having to fight Darth Vader. And thanks to these 3 tricks and more, despite having some big slowdowns, TSG had his first world record. His record streak would continue over the following weeks, and the run had
Clodsire wasn't the evolution we expected, but it was the evolution we both needed and wanted without knowing we did. It's not the one we expected, it's the one we deserved.
Players were allowed to play them in any order they wanted, but putting episode 5 at the end was beneficial since its ending
Total
cutscene
game
was
changer.
the longest, and timing stops before the cutscene plays. This way, it's not included anywhere in the final time. And the second change
I
was
saw a
the
shiny
removal of
Great
the
Tusk
red
earlier, and it just reminded me of
red
mint
bricks
choc
were
ice
no
cream.
longer banned. That meant he could use certain unlockables as he found them throughout the game.
Okay. Nope.
2 big ones
Nope.
he used were exploding blaster bolts which lets you
You know how
place
earlier I was
quicker
talking shit
and
about, like,
more
oh, I got the other two easy, the
and
last one will be
infinite
super easy. Nope.
torpedoes, which means you always have them behind you in the flying levels and don't have to go pick them up.
Okay, so that's a
Having these two
6-star,
upgrades across much
6-star.
of the run saved several minutes, and when combined with
There's
the
another one.
execution of other tricks, allowed TSG to take the record under 3 hours and 30 minutes. New strategies were also getting discovered left and right, and in late 2016, one of the most obvious oversights from the developers was found
Give me
by
the
a player
gabagool.
named Osamnal. On the last level of episode 1, you're supposed to fight Darth Maul by forcing objects into him. But over on the right, there's a lamp. And
What
for
did he
some
say?
reason, everything below the lamp is considered by the game to be out of bounds. You can stand and jump in any out of bounds area, so it's possible to just jump off the wall to the top of the lamp and
Venus
across to
light,
the other side.
Venus light.
As simple as that, you could save 30 seconds. By April 2017, TSG had taken the record to 3 hours and 24 minutes, and with second place more than 7 minutes behind, he was in full control of the world record. However, in May, a key rule was lifted. Back in August 2016, the ban on red bricks was lifted. And now, players were allowed to call in the second player.
Like, in my mind, this is how, like, maybe it's not justification or trying to, like, cope, but the dittos I'm after right now are for the intent of, if I ever decide to try and do competitive stuff, that I can breed competitive Pokemon. If I want a shiny Pokemon, I'll do a Musuda method with a different ditto. I understand having a 6IV foreign ditto would do both, but that's, like, not where my brain's at. You know? I mean, what I might do later is, if I do get the 6IV ditto, go on Twitter and ask to swap with somebody. Same for the other two dittos that I got today.
And if you
You know?
skip using the cart for both, you save a full minute.
You know what, we
However,
could just
you're
go.
not allowed to have a physical second player to help you out. You have to do everything alone. So, whenever you want to call in player 2, you have to control them both at the same time. It's known as 1 player 2 controllers, or 1P2C. And on PC, there's 3 options for this. You can use 2 controllers, you can use 2 parts of the keyboard, or you can use a keyboard and a controller. Most runners nowadays go with the keyboard controller method, but in June 2017, TSG set a record with the controller method. The only point TSG used 1P2C in the run was in 4-5, but the community knew there could be applications elsewhere.
Also,
Less than a month after TSG's
sorry for not streaming Wednesday, some stuff got in the way, but we're here now.
He had been a
It's an important thing, you know?
for a while, but rapidly
Wow,
improved
Splash
his
does a lot of
personal
damage.
best in mid-2017 to take the top spot. He too used 1P2C in stage 4-5, and thanks to a couple new strategies in episode 6, pulled ahead for a new world record by 90 seconds. However, TSG was up to the task, and just a week later,
I'm thinking of the history of Ditto
by the end
and
of the
how
year, TSG's time was down to 3 hours.
getting Ditto is always
30 seconds.
almost always been a pain in the arse.
319
Like,
run had a notable new trick in the first
I remember,
phase
so
of
what,
Darth Vader.
Gen
After dealing
6?
2 hearts of damage,
Gen 6?
Darth Vader jumps around
When was the
and
friend
pulls
safari?
the Stormtrooper helmet off.
That you had to use
You
people's
can
friend
then
codes.
use
That had to be Gen
Darth
6, because it used friend codes from the
safely land on
3DS.
white part of the panel, then fly and avoid a death plane to barely make it to
I
the
would
other
love that,
side.
if Splash worked like that.
There, you activate a platform for Luke and open the door with the Stormtrooper helmet.
I think Friend
to
Safari was
save
Gen
the
6.
entire fight.
And so you had to then, so you had to
Nicknamed
find a friend
BB-1,
that would
saves
give a
45
normal
seconds and
type
discovered by a
safari,
player named
and then you'd
Zolus.
go in the back, and then I
Combined
think there was
with
like
3,
seeds
it
of
was
what ones
quite
it could be.
evident that stage 5 was becoming the most critical point.
Or it's always had a low encounter, or
Speaking of Zolus, he would set the game's next record, a 3:16:12. He implemented one.
oh, that's
feature
almost
across
perfect,
the
almost
board.
perfect.
Some were small time saves, like deflecting shots so that R4 could safely activate the panel in 2-2, and others were more
Next one's
substantial.
down here.
In 4-5, you could now use Chewbacca to activate the elevator and ride it immediately, instead of having to use Han Solo and wait for its second cycle. a time save of about
I never
12
quite
seconds.
figured out.
But interestingly, Zolas played
I'm,
the
right,
game
granted,
on-
I'm really bad
We
for
know from
ignoring
before
certain
that this is
mechanics
slower than
in
the PC version,
Pokemon, like
but there's
the
another
Pokemon
consideration
Me
to be made.
or the Pokemon
The
Pelago.
version requires
For some reason, that
both
stuff doesn't
remote
doesn't
and
interest me
Delta.
that much.
So to do 1P2
So it seemed like I never made a single curry in Sword and Shield.
controllers at once. Still, Zolas was
It's
able
not
to
out of
pull
like
it off with a world record by opening
malice or
the
anything like that.
gates.
I'm just like, eh.
TSG followed this up a few
But
months
the
later
way you
with
could get
Force
Pokemon from Pokemon Pelago, I was reading about it, and it was like,
for implementing yet
what?
another trick into level 5
You leave Pokemon and sometimes
GT1
the
and
next one
GT3
appears?
already had skips, and now Darth Vader's fourth form did as well. It was possible to do a couple of precise double
I think
jumps,
ProZD
and skip had
did a
both
video or
Force
a tweet talking
and
about how he
Darth
had
too.
unlocked every
He had the
curry,
potential to save about
and
7 seconds,
there is a
and
lot
just added
there is a
to the
lot
skill
of
needed
curry
in 5-5.
variants,
Episode 5 as a whole was becoming really
and
brutal.
that did not interest me. I think the reward as well is you get a bouncy ball in the shape of Leon, and a bouncy ball with Leon's face on it.
So let's take a look at our timeline so far. TSG started dominating in mid-2016, and although he twice lost the record to Roushmore,
I need them to bring back the PS. I hate, like, it's a weird renaissance that we are starting to say, you know what, maybe Gen 6 was okay. The PSS system is still the best thing, the best way they've communicated network stuff in Pokemon still. I've said this before and I'll say it again, the PSS was actually good.
To enter a new era, because in October 2018, Roushmore did this.
I'm gonna get copyright
Over
strikes
the
for...
span of just 3 weeks, Roushmore took the record from a 314 down to a 3.
Like, I liked,
The key was the rapid
like,
discovery
it would
of
constantly
moves
update
by
with,
a
like, people
runner
that you've either
named
passed by or you've somehow linked
that would
with,
save up
and
to
it would say where they were
8
from.
minutes. And the first one,
Like, if you watch any Candy Eevee, she talks about how she misses, like, knowing, oh, where in Japan specifically are they from? Where specifically in the States are they from? And it would fill out a little map in one of the games, but we don't get that anymore.
Just push him off the edge. It skips the remainder
Couple that with
of the
Gen
fight
4's
and saves
touchscreen.
45 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, we do have a
It
touchscreen,
was discovered you could push him
but...
off at the start of the fight by calling in player 2. It saves an additional minute and is known as the Ultra Kill. Another simple boss skip was found in 4-3. You can skip the spy fight by using the Force on R2. This pushes him past the trigger to start the fight, and if you call him in after,
Gee, I
you can
sure
just go
wish
in
I
the open door
get
and
a
save about
6 heavy
10
Ditto, man.
seconds. But the real big time save was in 6-3. In this
Yeah,
level,
I do
you
know
swap off the
that
speeder and drive
the
through
touch
your
screen we
other
have
force.
for the Switch,
Instead, if you go into the corner of the end barrier with both players,
I was going to say the screen's
player one
capacitive,
gets
but I
placed
forget if
above
that's the
player
DS
two,
touchscreen that I'm
and
thinking
you
of,
can
or
do
the
a
Switch screen.
360 to make it over the barrier.
The Switch screen is not the same as the
This
3DS
activates the
screen,
end of the
so
course,
like reaction
and
time or
lets
input
the
delay
entire thing
is
to take
significant.
several minutes. These discoveries
I mean,
hopefully
actually, I don't know why I'm
force
saying that, because you can play the
records
Tycho games with the touchscreen, so it obviously can't be too much of an issue. Never mind.
309 from October 2018
There's definitely input delay of
being
some
the
level,
final
but
record set
I'm sure they
in
would
the
account for it.
But interestingly, as the record stayed put at 309, the run started to get
I think there's
massive
one
views on
more
YouTube.
before I have to change the clock.
It went semi-viral, and many people
So-
who saw the video thought it could be fun to try running it themselves. And largely thanks to Roushmore's video, by early 2019, there was a new crop of runners ready to gun for the world record. In 5th place, there was Senor with a 3:11:37.
Senor.
4th place, there was Wii Super with a 3:10:45.
Oh, great job! You'll let me know when
In
it's
3rd
complete, and I'll
place,
come by
there
and
was
see it.
Osumnol with a 3:10:06.
How is the
In 2nd place,
how
there was Shred
item limit?
with a 3:09:54. All
Are they
four
increasing
runners
that or
closed
something?
in on Roushmore's record, and it was
Is that something
obvious
they
that
announced
he
recently?
was
They're
going
increasing like the
to
limit.
soon. The general consensus for the
Or
favorite
did I
to
make
do
that up?
so was Osumnol, but all 4 of them had a shot at it. And then, one of them broke through. On February 11th, 2019, Senor jumped straight from 5th to 1st place to capture his first world record. He lowered his personal best by nearly 2.5 minutes in the process. Senor had gotten
Oh,
into
they would
the
look
game
into it,
after
okay.
seeing Rauschmore's video, and
So
although
that
he
doesn't
learned
help you
his
now.
quickly, he was comfortably behind the other record contenders. But the key to Senor getting this record was 1P2C. He used it all over the run. He used it for multitasking, he used it to get one player in position while the other player built, he used it to push characters further ahead.
Well, they're definitely going to have to show it in a fan fest. I'm curious to know, like, how much stuff is getting a facelift. Like, there is a mod you can get that replaces a lot of the old assets with new assets, and it adds like another like 10 gig, but it makes everything look beautiful.
The game doesn't know what to do when you're inside a built object.
I don't care if it's for
So if
houses,
you're
garden,
next to
apartments.
a
So
wall,
yeah, more
It
slots.
will sometimes push you through it.
Come on,
meaning you go out of bounds and skip
Kitamu.
over the distant
Kitamu?
party to save 40 seconds.
I've
This
never
is
heard
a
that name
really
before.
precise trick, since you have to be positioned just right to clip out of bounds.
We've added an
If you miss it,
extra couple of
you
inches to
break
every
the and build it to try again.
Ellison.
With
Maybe
all
they
the
think I'm gonna meme them.
competition from top runners, people didn't expect Senor's record to last long. But it would only last for 3
Oh, speaking of
days.
Emmerich fans,
Valentine's Day 2019,
is it
Shred
Audrey
had
from
the
that
306
Japanese shopping
27.
site you told me about?
Shred had been running
She appeared
the
on
game
a
for over a year, but only became a
FF14
serious
podcast
record
yesterday. I need to go
contender
watch
early
that.
in 2019. And his record was an improvement
Hit
of
the
nearly
slay
3
button on
minutes,
Emmerich.
which was especially impressive given that it
I
was played on a
Taikuji.
Wii.
I knew I was
It
gonna fuck
didn't
up the
do much
name,
new
so I
over
just
Senor's
stuck with
record, but
knowing
was better executed.
her
It had a
uh,
first try
her name.
overkill and a cleaner episode 6 overall. Senor fired back just 3 days
Oh,
later. with
I
another
mean, this is
2-minute record.
tangential at best. So
The world
I
record
said
was now down to
your her name.
4, but it still has
Makoto Shinkai's new film Suzumi is out in the UK next week. If people are interested in seeing it, that's part of the reason why I'm going over to Ireland next week to see Lauren, and we're going to go see Suzumi because your name was a big deal when we started dating, and it means a lot to us. We're going to go see this one. Like, we went and saw Weathering with You together. There was one evening in Edinburgh where it was a double bill, where it was your name and Weathering with You, so we sat for like 4 hours in the cameo. It was very nice. But yeah, Suzumi's out. I think it's suzumi-movie.com. You can like put in where you are and where the nearest cinema showing it.
As March progressed, these two made it clear they both wanted to make a push for the world's first sub 3.
I enjoyed Weathering with You. Like, when I first saw it, my brain was like, oh, it's better than Your Name. Then I watched it again and went, well, no, it's not as good as Your Name, but I still enjoyed it. I think the music in Weathering with You is amazing as well. And like it's got one of my favorite lines, like in anime. It was like, I choose you over another blue sky or something like that. that hit deep. Na 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 na. I have heard Suzumi is a bit more adventure-y, more like I've refused to look anything up, but someone said it's a bit more like action adventure-y than what we're used to. I need to watch 5 centimeters per second again, because I watched that years ago, not knowing who Shinkai was, and didn't realize that he also did Your Name. I didn't think the two. I thought the ending was cute. I also, going to Japan and finding that spot in real life definitely added to the experience a wee bit on like rewatches. Except for waiting for other people to finish their photo ops so I could take my photo op, you know? Yeah, that's the only thing I remember from the film was a lot of establishing shots and not establishing anything. Is it 5 centimeters or 5 millimeters? It doesn't matter. Right, let's look at these dittos. Nope. Nope. Damn it. Right, I'm gonna look at all these dittos again and double check. Right.
World's first sub 3.
Nope. Nope.
Xenor had skipped
Nope.
straight
Nope.
over 259
Nope.
to a
Nope.
258.50.
Nope. Nope.
His run was
Nope.
roughly even
Nope.
through episode 6, but he saved
Nope.
some time later over
Nope.
mistakes and slowdowns in his last
Nope.
PB.
Nope.
And at the end of the run, he
Nope.
still had to execute
Nope.
tricks like
Nope.
hut skip and
Nope.
BV3.
Nope.
It was
Nope.
an intense situation.
Nope.
He was able to
Nope.
clutch them out
Nope.
and get the first
Nope.
sub 3.
Nope.
Interestingly, about half
It's
an
how
hour
fast
before
Sakura
the
Petals
end of
fall, I
Xenor's
believe.
run,
Ah,
Wii Super started
okay, and that
a
one's
run of
decent.
its
Okay.
own, and this run would
So
finish
I
with a
have the
259.04,
good ones I actually got today so
world's
far
second
are
sub 3.
0 IV in
Had
attack
Wii
and
Super
0
started
IV
its
in
run
speed.
just a
I actually
few
got an
hours
extra one with
earlier,
0 IV in
he
attack.
would have won the race to sub 3.
So these are
But
good for
instead,
competitive builds,
he
and I
had to
just need the
settle for
perfect
second
one still.
place, while Xenor got the glory. But Xenor's record wouldn't last
Okay, I
long.
think that's this. I might
He
have
beat
to
his
change
own
the
run
clock.
by 43 seconds just a day later. This run was notable for introducing.
I wish I could zoom out one more, but you
in
can't.
4-4, there's a section where Obi-Wan is
Oh,
supposed to appear
missed
across the room on a bridge after you arrive. The way the game
Let's go get
tries
this
to
one.
get him there is by running through a room with barrels. If he gets stuck behind a barrel, the game turns him to try and get around them, which slows him down, but he still.
Worst case
eventually
scenario, I
arrives
find
first.
somebody on Twitter hosting a 6-star, not 6-star,
Sometimes
6 IV
he
one.
gets stuck.
I still don't
That
know
happens
exactly
because
how
he never
people like
shows
reset
up,
the same
and
raids.
You can't progress
but-
through the level. Lego Star Wars is a broken game.
Not my problem.
Now, runners used to have a way around this. You
Are you
reload
normal?
the bridge room by entering and
You're
exiting
normal.
the previous room, which guarantees Obi-Wan will show up for a 2-second time loss. But players then found 4-4 cutscene skip. By jumping off of this ledge, you can hook back and enter an out-of-bounds area to skip to the next room. This means a cutscene doesn't play and you save 18 seconds. However, as a consequence of the cutscene not playing, you can no longer reload the bridge room.
If you
since
take
wouldn't
part
be
in the
able to
current,
reload
like,
the previous room if you enter it.
Ranked
So,
Pokemon, you do like
Obi-Wan
complete 3
already
matches, you get a
was back
Pokeball
into
bag.
play. If he didn't want to
Hopefully
show
I'll
up,
remember to do
you
it
were
before it
in
goes away.
big trouble. A couple weeks later, a fairly
I'm
substantial
absolutely
change
desperate for
was made.
glamour
The
in
community decided
this
to
Pokemon game.
alter the way runs were timed. Instead of starting when the players gained control in 1-1, it would now begin when selecting new game on the main menu. This was mostly done so that movement in the cantina would be considered in the final time. It added roughly
Cantina, you
15
say?
seconds to all
Wait, no,
runs.
that joke doesn't
So,
fly. It's
when
literally the
Xenor set
Mos
a
Eisley
record that
Cantina.
would have been
Never mind.
257.36 under the old timing, it was retimed to
Another example of let's limit the fun. Yeah.
and that made it 4 consecutive records for Xenor. He was the first to sub 3, and now he was taking control of the leaderboard. And for Wii Super, he just couldn't catch up. He perpetually remained slightly behind Xenor, easily in second place, but ever since he missed his chance at the first sub 3, the world record eluded him. But after the 258.34, Xenor announced that he was taking
Larvesta?
a break from the category to focus his efforts
What the-
elsewhere.
Bruh.
Maybe this was the chance Wii Super needed. With Xenor at least temporarily out of the picture, he could hone in on improving his time without needing to compete with anyone.
Like, it's
As it
at least
turned
it's
out,
not like
just 2 days later,
another Ditto or Magikarp.
it was only record by a second, but Wii Super had finally overtaken Xenor. It was a run with a great early game, but he lost.
It's not even like a
on
shiny that
Xenor's
they're trying to show off. It's
each
just,
episode.
it's literally just Larvesta.
Still, Wii Super had broken through. Was this a one-time deal, or was he about to make something more out of it?
That's what I'm saying.
6 days later,
Like, people
a
definitely did that in Sword and
60-second
Shield. They just wanted to show off their
Wii Super,
shiny, and
largely
I'm also
due
going to
Xenor
Dynamax it because
before. The very
fuck
next
'em.
day, another minute and a half world record. 3
I
weeks
don't like
later,
Houndstone. I
two
really
record
don't.
improvements on the same
I think
day.
Grievard is cute, but
3
I
days
hate. I don't
later,
like Houndstone
a
at all.
record cut by nearly 2 full minutes. Then Wii Super took a break, and when he came back, another world record. 7 records over the course of 3 months for Wii Super. The final one was a time of 2:53.04. After a while, Senor had come back to attempts, but this time the tables were turned. He was the one who couldn't catch up to Wii Super. The way he went on this run was through both improving his own skills and utilizing new strategies. In 2-6, Wii Super began
Because I need to
using
boost my
new
ego with a shiny,
by
I probably
standing on a
method
barrel, you could
hunted
force it
and
with
took less than a
player
day to
2 and
get.
clip under the floor. By then dropping out with the inbounds player,
Did
you can leap
huh?
forward past the
Did you get a shiny
beginning of the
Larvesta?
fight and enter the next
Sorry,
room. The trick was found by Senor and saves up to 30 seconds. Wii Super also began using the Vehicle Smart Bomb Red Brick. It allows you to hold the special button in ship levels and make everything on screen explode, which can save you about 20 seconds. In
Please stop showing me the
5-1.
dex entry.
And
I beg.
interestingly, with these new tricks being incorporated and runners' skill levels improving,
That's the
someone new
that's the people
moved
who
into
show off the
second
crap.
place.
Ah, right.
Chimkin. He had been in 3rd place for months,
Just gonna save.
even
Just
being a part of the initial sub-3 grind, but he always remained behind
Change the
Wii
day.
Super and Senor. But he was improving, and by May, he was ahead of Senor. And sure enough, when Wii Super woke up on the morning of July 6th, his record was gone. Chimkin had beaten it by over a minute,
Mate,
getting a
this isn't 5-star, right?
2:52 flat.
No.
It was a run with a slow early game, but after a gold split in 3-2, he was off to the races. He pulled ahead of the record and crushed it. So, Wii Super had to get back to work. And it took him 13 hours to get the record back. Over the coming weeks and months,
There's a
Wii Super
not a
and
speedrun
Chimkin
video.
would
No,
trade the
there's a
record
shiny
back
hunt
and
video
forth.
that's really fun
Wii Super was the first
to
take
watch
number
where
250.
in
The
Pokemon Battle
240
Revolution there was a very small chance that the
Chimkin would get the
not
record
gym
back.
leaders but like
By
the
the end of the year,
leaders
he was down
of
to
whatever zone
245.39.
their
How
outfit
did
could
he
be the
sneak
shiny
the record
variant.
down by 7 minutes?
So somebody spent
Well,
like
there was
15
a new
months
red brick,
soft resetting.
Fast Force, which does what it sounds like. It lets you force objects faster. To obtain it quicker,
Like I can understand the commitment. Like I could have Masuda method a Wooloo faster than random encounters, but I wanted that Route 1 in its encounter. Didn't want to hatch it. Like Jay Witz did a video on like he did not play any of Sword and Shield until he never left Route 1 until he got his Wooloo. And I did do that. I was up until Christmas where there was like a shiny Magikarp raid happening event, and then I caved and went into the then I went complete the game. So we've got Kate Kaide and Rushia.
It saved 45 seconds, but was immensely difficult.
Anytime that I see Tinkaton now, I think of that tweet of the picture of Tinkaton going, "Nice balls, bro," and then just like a clang sound. It's my fave.
You join with player 2 and
That same audio was used for Power and her hammer in a different
Player
video
1 stands far
on
enough
Twitter.
away and Lando jumps, the door will close.
Just thinking PBR, we could have seen those shiny outfits and never know how rare it was.
You
Yeah.
pushed through the door frame
Like, the
and
only
out
reason
of
people
bounds.
knew it existed was there was like a strategy
Ultimately,
guide
to the
that
same room as you did from Bespin out of
hinted that it
bounds.
could
It
happen,
allows you to do so nearly a full minute
but nobody
faster,
had like evidence of it
and is
previously.
much easier. The only
You've seen the
problem
video,
is that
you know what
if
I'm on
you
about.
miss the door
Oh,
open
is that what
in
shiny
time,
Spartha
AI
looks like?
characters
A
can
Spartha?
randomly run near the door and prevent it
Huh.
from closing. So you really want to get the trick first try.
I
With
do
all
not
these
care
time
for it
saves
shiny.
combined, and runners still
I don't-
improving their skills on top of that, the world record was down to a really solid 245.
Like, it's like a brunette instead of
It was enough
blonde,
for
which is
Wii
fine.
Super to take a break from grinding the category, and
Not for
Chimkin
me.
stopped playing it as well. Other than those two, nobody had a PB under 2 hours and 50 minutes. But over the coming weeks in late 2019 and early 2020, the game would get a huge boost in popularity thanks to an unlikely source: TikTok. There was a big wave of nostalgia for LEGO Star Wars. Millions played it while growing up.
Black and purple is
after
good.
years had passed, they looked back on the game fondly. A trend began on TikTok where people changed their profile pics to mimic how they look in LEGO Star Wars, with a green or blue
I remember
circle
that
around them.
segment of
This
the
increased game's
lockdown
popularity on the
on
internet as a
TikTok.
whole, as people remembered LEGO Star Wars and wanted to experience it again. As such, speedrun streams and videos exploded in popularity, and starting in early 2020, there was a new
Oh,
wave
there's a few.
of speedrun activity.
This was the...
And suddenly, by February, Wii Super
Yeah.
had new competitors on his doorstep. In second
Maybe we
place
go
was Tifa,
clockwise.
and in third place
Yeah.
was Led Astray. Both had a time of 2:47, and both
Do
had
that, and then I'll
aspirations for
teleport
the
there.
world record. Wii Super had no choice but to do more runs if he wanted to defend his title. So he did. And in the span of just 1 week, he lowered
Yes,
the
Ben.
record twice, taking it down to 2:44.30. But this wasn't the complete domination that he'd had earlier. His competition continued to close in. Led Astray got a 2:46, and a familiar face had actually
That's
jumped into
psychic.
second place.
I keep on confusing it for normal type, but that's the psychic
Pressure
icon.
was on for Wii Super. These guys were both capable of getting the record, and could really obtain it any day now. Wii Super continued to do runs. And a couple weeks later, he achieved a run that put away any competition for the record.
Kota.
Months of attempts had all led up to this moment. It was his ultimate run. Throughout the first 4 episodes, there were no
Yeah,
He gained a
that's
bit
the
of
main.
time
That's one of the
on
main things that
every
stops me
run,
from wanting to
and
try
later
speedrunning.
episodes,
Is like
he was nearly
I don't think my
2
attention
ahead.
span could actually
The final
cope
2
with that.
episodes are 3 and 5, and although they weren't perfect, they were good enough. And when combined with the
Oh, there was like
incredible
drama in the
the
it
end
was the
result
Mario
was
Kart
a
64
monster world record.
speedrun community, because there was one guy who would
Wasn't
literally
much
wait
for
until
his title anymore.
somebody overtook him, and then actually,
Senor wasn't
here's the
deserving
evidence that
of
I've
it.
beaten that
Wii Super
record already. I
challenged
was just waiting for you to get the
ahead,
title so I could
but
reclaim it.
Senor knew he could close the gap.
What an asshole.
On March 27th, he took his PB down to 2:44, and on the 31st,
Come on,
he shaved
Harvey.
another half minute off.
It says I can start, so I'll just start without you, I guess.
Super's record, Senor was actually able to close in. These two guys were ahead of the pack. Just like the initial sub 3 grind, Wii Super and
Yeah, actually, it led like the other
were
guy
all
to like
out.
just to stop like
Thanks
taking
to the
part
game's
in
boost
that speedrun. It's just like I don't want to do this
popularity
anymore
around
if this is going to keep
the
happening.
community decided to have a LEGO Star Wars speedrun tournament. Wii Super, Senor, and most of the game's other top runners all
Senor.
participated. It was a double elimination tournament, and there were some great times put up by several different runners. But when all was said and done, after the brackets were completed,
I'm going to cheer them on. You know what? You guys need a defense buff.
but Wii Super and Senor. These two would get the benefit of a big new strategy discovered a few weeks ago in 6-1, Spiderless. By using a forcible object, you could clip into the wall, which was faster than the old method of using the spider. You can then come back in bounds to touch
I made
a
the silly
wall,
mistake last
which
night
acts
of
as a trigger for the game to send you
rereading
straight to the
the
boss fight
Zelda
to get
timeline,
this trick
and
saved
how
a
I'm
full
still
60 seconds.
annoyed
A
that they
huge advantage
swapped
for any runner
Link's
to
Awakening
kick
and
off.
the Oracle games
Up to
around.
this point, Senor had lost one match while Wii Super was undefeated.
Shouldn't have done that.
So to win the whole thing,
And then ended up reading about Triforce
Senor
Heroes,
needed
and like I never
twice,
played that, but
while
what the
Wii
fuck is that
Super
game?
needed just one win. And Senor handily won
It's
the first
it's
game.
like it's
Wii
not Link
Super
got split into
accidentally
3. It's like
self-won
3
the
different
five
Links
match
altogether.
run, losing several minutes and allowing Senor to cruise to an easy victory. That meant there would be a winner-take-all match the next day.
I don't know if they ever
determining the
established for
tournament
Breath of the
champion.
Wild, but my
This
at least
was going
my
to be a tough
fan
task
theory for
Senor.
Breath of the Wild is that Breath of the
Look at what he
Wild
had going
is on
against
all
him.
the timelines,
His
but just because
personal
it's like
best
tens of
would be
thousands of
a
years
video
later, all the
highlight
timelines eventually end up happening everything, so they all end up in Breath of the
And
Wild.
he'd gotten a pretty lucky victory yesterday thanks to a fluke softlock. He was going to need to play out of his mind if he wanted to win this thing. And so, on April 19th, 2020...
There's too many. There's too many Zelda games now. I'm just like, I don't...
With his opponent heavily favored to win...
It was a nice feeling when I eventually looked at the timeline and went, you know what? I don't actually care enough. This does not mean anything to me anymore. And whenever I see comments then it's like, oh, I wonder where this takes place. I'm like, who cares? Who cares? I think we've definitely had this conversation before, because this bleeds into how I feel about canon in Marvel films now. I don't care about the canon, as long as it's entertaining.
He won the tournament, and he got the world record.
Still not finished Skyward Sword, which is annoying me because of how it's the first fucking installment. Yeah, like I've not touched Skyward Sword, but like the idea of it being the originator for a lot of stuff, I was like, who the fuck is Demise?
Wii Super wanted the record back, and it took him just 5 days to do so. He got a 240.32. This run was actually on sub 240.
Remember when Ocarina of Time was first chronologically?
The last two stages of the run are two of the toughest.
Then Minish Cap.
Lost a lot of time to DV
Then Skyward.
5-5 and to door clip in 5-6. Sub 240 would have to wait.
Ryusuke. Speaking of speedruns, the speedrun for Skyward Sword is really silly. I don't know if you've ever seen the speedruns for it, but it's a sight to behold.
Wii Super lost 45 seconds to door clip and missed sub 240 by just 4 seconds. It's a great example of how tough the end of the run is. Door clip is in the very last stage, and if you miss it initially, bad luck can make you lose the record. Over the following few weeks, competition caught up. A couple runners named Pickletoe
Is it as
and
daft
Ginger
as
Legend
Ocarina
got
using that
tied for
Goma room
41
glitch to get to the literal end?
increasing the pressure on Wii Super.
It's not that
On
severe.
July 14th,
It's not that game breaking, but it's still pretty significant. Like they kind of like, as far as I remember, it's like you boot up a different save entirely, like a different playthrough, and then you go back to the home screen, and then suddenly you're able to control Link in the title screen, because like the title screen is just showing like a demo of the game. You're actually able to control Link in that, and then you set up stuff which then affects your first save, which is technically the one that you're trying to speedrun.
He had a rough 5-5.
So it is daft, but not as big as that one.
Was still possible. He got door clip quickly and
There's
left just enough room.
speaking of Ocarina, there's somebody who there's a part of the community that tried to speedrun the games that are in the Super Smash Bros. Brawl game trial. Because in Brawl, you could play some of the Virtual Console games, but like 5-10 minute versions of them. So they found a way to complete Ocarina within the timer of Brawl. And it's not just like you start from Kokiri and then work your way forward. Like I think it starts you off somewhere randomly.
Have lost motivation after being beaten to the first sub 240. So
It's so
they
ridiculous. I
all
love
fall
it.
in the category as well. For the first time in many months, there was little activity at the top of the leaderboard. That meant there was technically an opportunity for someone outside of the top 4 to swoop in and make a move.
Let's
take
look
a
at these
who's
three
in
ditto.
5th place.
Nope.
This is E-Road House.
Oh, damn it. I
He's
thought I
been
had
playing
it.
the game for about 3 months and managed
No.
to quickly
Okay.
enter the
5
first
IVs.
top 5. However, during the sub 240 grind, he was comfortably behind the big 4 runners.
I should not have
He
talked
wasn't
smack
considered to
earlier.
have a serious shot at the world record. But with all 4 of them stepping aside, this was his chance. In early August, he he stepped into 4th place and lowered his PB down to 241.
Just trying to think what the fastest way would be.
And on August 10th, he got on a run where he pulled about 50
If I
ahead of the
if I
record by the
played
end of episode 4.
Zelda a lot more,
There
I
was
think
still
I would
a
enjoy
long way to go,
randomizers.
but he kept nailing
Like, I
that
could play
race.
Pokemon randomizers no problem
Spider
because they're
Wizard
so
6
like
Dash
linear for the most
Speeder
part.
Skip in
Whereas
6
Zelda,
Dash 3,
I would totally
a shot at the world
I've not played
record
them
was starting
enough to
seem
really
more and more like a reality.
just know where to
He was
go.
competing against an incredible episode 3 in the world record, so he bled some time there, but going into the last 2 levels of the run,
There was a
5
video
5
from years ago, somebody
he was
who
only half a minute
who
behind.
themselves had said, "Oh, I
Time
complete
to enter
Link to the Past
Gauntlet.
twice a year," and it was the first time they ever touched a randomizer. And literally every time
TV3,
they picked up an item and it wasn't the item they thought it would, they would tilt their head like a dog listening to
TV4 jumps,
you say walkies.
both first try.
And
Finally,
the co-hosts. Hold on.
second try. This all saved about 4
No, that's just what
seconds
Storm
of
looks
the
like.
last
Okay, I thought that was
level of
shiny.
Super's run. And it was enough for E Roadhouse to get a 239.43. He had leapfrogged over
Textures are
Pokemon,
different in Scarlet and
Seymour,
Violet.
and Wii Super to get the world record.
Just in case I'm going to catch it.
There was a new face on top of the leaderboard.
Okay, so it's not just me. Good to know.
Well, Wii Super wasn't going to take this lying down. E Roadhouse had only beaten him by 6 seconds. Surely it wouldn't be too hard to take the
I mean, that,
record back. But Wii Super
like, I
wanted
appreciate that the
something
metallic Pokemon look
more.
metallic.
There had been a number of new
Okay,
strategies
quick capture.
developed around this time. Wii Super knew that if he utilized them all in a full run, he could...
Because it's like a baby blue in Sword and Shield. Okay, I need to swap my Magikarp around.
We won't go over all of these new tricks, but there's 2 particularly big ones. And the first one, well, Lego Star Wars
Yeah, it's not shiny.
has
Okay.
an extra shortcut. Level 1-4 is the pod race.
Yeah, these Dittos are the ones that I've had previously from raids. These are all from today.
For years, there was no way to really speed this up. Even the fastest world records just drove the 3 laps. But in
It would be annoying if I found a shiny before I did my little
TV3,
shiny
Havster, and Xenor
alt
combined to
run.
develop a trick called pod fraud. It's a very complicated trick.
Pod
The
fraud,
gist of
pod
it is
fraud.
that the game's only method for checking lap completion is
Has a
seeing
yellow
if you've
face,
touched
okay.
an area on the far side of the course, and seeing if you've touched the finish line region. So after driving a lap normally, you go out of bounds with 2 players,
Dream on.
leave one by the finish line region, and try to get the other to the far side. This middle section out of bounds kills you, but it lets you
See,
build up speed quickly.
Koraidon's
So,
paradox
by
name
dying a few times, you can
kicks
build
ass
up enough
compared
speed
to
make it across. By touching this
Miraidon's.
region, the next
Miraidon's
lap is
is
activated,
Iron
and you
Serpent.
skip having to
Koraidon is Winged King.
This setup takes about 25 seconds.
I should probably just rename my
but a lap normally
Koraidon
takes
to
about
that.
60, so you save over half a minute. The other big skip is called Grieve Cheese, discovered by Pickletoe with concepts from Fezteo. The general Grievous fight is normally a slow, scripted battle, where you jump around the level...
Sorry, yes,
acting
you're
on the
correct.
main platform. However, he'll only perform his scripted
Yes, it is
actions while
Gallo.
actively
Sorry.
standing on this platform.
I misspoke.
So, you can use Obi-Wan to lure him toward a rock, then jump off the platform.
Actually, that reminds me. Did I like a tweet
before
that
he
had something
walks
to
too
do with
far away. By repeating this over and over,
Pomir?
you can drain his health without having him
If not, I'm gonna have to
ever
look for it.
perform scripted actions. Unfortunately, there's RNG involved. He can randomly block your shots, which wastes time. But ideally, Grieve Cheese can save...
Get
over
that
half
Lechonk
the
off
With
my
all this
screen.
and more, Wii
Oh,
Super
speaking of
helped
Lechonk, if you go into
crush
game,
the current
you can get a
and he was
Terraflying
on September
Lechonk.
18th, he beat
You're welcome.
by just under 2 minutes, getting a 237.
I forget if it's in a Cherish Ball or not. I have it in my box. I should just check.
Did it again with a 236.08. The leaderboard was back to normal.
I will cancel.
Wii Super was dominating the competition.
Oh,
Multiple minutes ahead of anyone else. And still, years after his first world record, nobody could catch Wii Super.
it depends on how much you really like Lechonk.
Just 16
Look, guy, I will cancel this raid. Oh,
E Roadhouse Roadhouse managed to get the record.
What do we think? Do we
The key to doing this was
do we
yet
keep going?
another
Do we
complicated new trick.
start the raid, or do we cancel out?
Calculus. The normal
I don't
way
want I don't want to
enter
enable
Sword
this
Art
humor,
Online
but I'm also
involves activating
I respect
four
the
triggers
bit.
scattered throughout a big room, then
Okay.
killing all the stormtroopers. It's a slow process that gradually raises the Millennium Falcon, so you can eventually enter it and end the level.
No shenanigans.
However, P-53 found a way to end the level early. You first have to load the last room of the level, which can be done by entering this grapple room. You then go back far in the level.
What was it from TikTok? If they're going to shenana one, they'll shenan again. No, shenana once, they'll shenan again.
This means the triggers, stormtroopers, and Millennium Falcon all disappear. The issue is that the game never.
I don't care much for
reloads
Lechonk
once
either.
you go back forward. So you re-enter the final room, and nothing's there. Since the stormtroopers are gone.
Partly because like the
game
word
treats
chonk
them
makes
the
me
same as
think.
they were. So you can jump into where the
Yeah,
level
there's a few Pokemon
the level
Twitch
ends.
emotes.
This saves about a minute and 15 seconds.
You have to scroll like all the way down in your emotes, and you'll see Pokemon ones.
That means that even without Falconless, he still would have beaten Wii Super. Maybe it was a fluke. Whenever someone took the record
Scroll all the
for
way
Wii
down.
Super,
Oh, wait, not all the way
he was
down.
always quick to respond. But a month later, Roadhouse set another record, 234.32. This was uncharted territory.
You just spell it
Who was he going to
correctly.
respond?
Yeah, because I can hover over the emotes and
A
see.
couple weeks later, Roadhouse got on a run that was 25 seconds ahead after episode 2. This was the best pace anyone had ever been on that early. He lost a bit of time from missing a clip in 4-2, but managed to improve to 30 seconds ahead, leaving episode 4. With one of
I hope.
ever first
Actually, I may have
maps
said
of the
this
run,
recently.
just
I hope
needed to
the home
avoid
integration
disaster
soon. That way, I
after
can rip the assets for the Gen 9 Pokemon and do
second
another
But
competition.
instead of
Yeah,
avoiding
I've definitely said this
disaster,
before.
something else happened. Roadhouse went on to play the
That
best
character on the left looks
episode
like
6
Clover
ever
and Ari.
performed. He was now a minute and 45 seconds ahead of the record. As you can imagine, the pressure he felt at this point was enormous, and he faltered a bit toward the start of episode.
You know what?
3,
Let's boost
losing
their
about 7
defenses
seconds in 3-2.
just in case.
But he followed this up with his best ever 3-5. And leaving episode 3, he was more than a minute and a half ahead of the record. It was by far the best chance he had ever had. He had a shot to not just lower the record, but demolish it. But he still had to get through episode 5, the hardest episode in the run, with the toughest tricks all right at the end. But he didn't need a perfect episode 5. He just needed one that was good enough. He had a 90-second cushion. As long as he didn't completely choke.
Funny if that
he
was a
would
kid
have
using their
another
favorite Pokemon and you cancel it because of
record.
them.
With
Yeah,
all the pressure mounting, and being on an
learn how to battle, kids.
Roadhouse didn't have an amazing episode 5. He had the best episode 5 ever performed.
In the words of Michael Jordan, fuck them
This
kids.
was by far the greatest record the game had ever seen. Roadhouse had skipped 233 and skipped 232. He was more than 4 minutes ahead of second place. There was nothing more he could do.
Let's do... What time am I on?
Roadhouse
Alright, let's do one
was
more.
the new top runner, and it was hard to imagine this record being beaten
Fire
anytime
type, okay.
soon. So, he
Wait,
took
no,
a
it's
break.
not teleport. Nope.
Since nobody else had a
Last
personal
one,
best below
because I can't.
336,
I don't want to do this
there
anymore.
were no challengers for the record. However,
At least
that didn't stop players
take a wee
from
break.
continuing to run the game. But the nature of the competition changed. It was now a battle for second place rather than the world record. About a month after the 231, a new runner moved into second, Ginger Legend. A few days later,
Okay, it's going to be shiny, it's going to have 6 perfect IVs, it's going to give me like 10 bottle caps.
it's important
gonna be
to note
amazing.
that there were very few new strategies being utilized. The vast majority of their time save came from getting better at the game. fewer mistakes, better movement, that sort of improvement.
Get the Flichinder off my screen.
February, a runner named Zach achieved a 235.
Are kids like coming home from school? Okay,
By March,
Greninja, that's fine.
There was a trio of runners with a 234. Senor in second place, Ginger Legend in third place, and Zach.
Come on,
in
Janik
fourth
or
place.
Yannick.
For the first time since he set his mammoth world record, E-Roadhouse was feeling a bit of pressure. They were still minutes away from his record, but their times were dropping.
Catch 'em,
So,
gotta catch 'em
he
all.
decided
Gotta
to end
catch
his
'em
break
all.
and go back to record attempts. But he struggled to get good runs going, especially compared to his incredible 231. On March 6th, Senor would once again lower his second place time, 233.05. He was now within 90 seconds of the world record. E-Roadhouse continued his attempts, but
I
failed
want to
get
be
anything
the
done.
best.
And then, on March 9th, Zach got on a run that was even with the world record through episode 2, then actually gained half a minute over the record in episode 4.
Oh, something cute I learned from Scarlet and Violet.
Mostly due to
If
better
you
gameplay
terrestrialize
and
a
strategy.
Dracloak,
He ended up
the
losing time to
Terra
an
hat is
incredible
not on the Dracloak, it's on the little
65
Dreepy on its head.
Roadhouse's record, but still finished with a
So it's a little tiny Terra hat.
2:32.23. Zach was just 35 seconds off the world record.
And
Senor
for
had a
Mimikyu,
2:33.
it's slightly
Zach had a 2:32.
skewed on its head so that when it goes into
Roadhouse
busted
had a
form,
2:31.
it then looks like
All
it's straight
three
up.
of them were doing attempts, and all three of them had potential to get the world record. E-Roadhouse's time had run out. He was now in direct competition with two strong runners. There was no question the world record was coming down. The question now
Yeah, I'll be doing this raid more over the weekend just to get the EV
Well,
items.
on March 22nd, E-Roadhouse broke through. It was only a 5-second record improvement, but it showed that he still had what it took.
Okay, we're done with that. Right, let's see what the last ditto looks like, and then we'll call it a day. Nope. Well, where are the emotes? Oh, you know what? I don't emote. I don't know my way around the buttons. Don't crouch. Is it right? No. Up? Okay. Yeah. Thank you everyone for today. It's definitely been a stream. I got 2 of the 3 dittos that I wanted, and that's good enough for now. And also, I do have a perfect ditto in home, so like it's not a lost cause. I'll see you again all next week. I will be away next Thursday, so I won't have a Friday stream next week. But yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there shouldn't be any problem. But until then, I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you all next week. So until then, ta-ta.